everyone. Welcome to the new episode of the Loud Casa Talks. My name is Nate, and alongside is my good buddy, Omid. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Nate. How y'all doing, Loud Crown Casa crew? Hope y'all are staying well, staying safe, and staying loved during this wonderful day, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, love and respect to everybody out there. And especially, I want to give a big shout out to our good friend Sunny. It's her birthday today as well. So shout outs to her. Being an awesome friend, being an awesome Loud Casa fan.
Yeah, I agree. Sunny, if you're watching or listening to this, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. We hope that you're spending it well. And let me tell you, you deserve all the love, all the birthday art that you get because you've been such a really awesome friend. And we especially admire your kindness, your creativity, your passion. You have a passion for shows and characters you love. And, you know, as a fan myself of media, that's something that I highly respect.
Sounds good. Okay, well, you know, last weekend we were celebrating some football games, that Super Bowl that we were in. You were in Las Vegas, and I was pretty much stuck at home. But you know what? We ended up winning a lot of stuff, to say the least. What did you win when you went to Vegas?
Well, I won me some extra $100, baby. $100,
How much?
baby. What's up?
$100? 100 bucks?
Extra $100.
Oh, yeah, okay, extra.
I put in what I bet $100 total, and I got 200 back.
Oh God, not bad. But you know what I did? I bet $20 on a pool with everybody, including you, on a prop bet pool, and I got $160 back. So I got more money than you.
Yeah, it looks like I ain't the only winner here, man.
Yeah,
so
we turned out to actually do well over at our Super Bowl bets. I didn't know that our Buccaneers pick with Tom Brady actually turned out to be a really fun pick.
Bucks, baby, yeah.
Yeah, congrats to the Bucks and Tom Brady and those guys. I hope to see them next year. They're gonna probably play again as the Buccaneers, with Tom Brady and everybody else. But yeah, pretty fun Super Bowl weekend, that's for sure. All right, so without further ado, let's actually just go straight to the episode reviews. You have 6 episodes to review. First off, let's start it off with the first Loud House episode called School of Shock. The synopsis here is Lisa takes over her first grade classroom and learns there's more to teaching than just the facts. So Lisa and Darcy, by the way, Darcy is there. I'm like shocked to see her again. I'm very happy.
Yes!
Look, the continuation thing is still going on. That Darcy's still, being a part of the Loud House crew, and it's like, yeah, they haven't forgotten about her. I'm glad that she actually had an appearance in the show and actually had a significant appearance here. But look, they're now in first grade. They have a brand new teacher called Mrs. Allegra. She's always been there. Well, first off, Lisa's been there just to pretty much interrupt Miss Allegra with all her teachings. We know that Lisa's a know-it-all, but what are your feelings with what Lisa's doing to Miss Allegra?
I do get where Lisa is coming from because she is a child prodigy. Like she's a genius and all that. But I feel that in terms of the interruptions, she should have toned it down a little bit because one thing she has to keep in mind, since she is so smart, since she's smart, one thing she has to keep in mind is that it's a first grade classroom. Of course, they're not going to get advanced learning yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So honestly, I felt that Lisa was just being too, how should I put this? Snooty, a bit snobby, a bit stubborn for her own good. And we see this happen where Lisa, because she's the smartest of not just the classroom, but also her family as well. She thinks that she's better than everyone. That sort of thinking that she presents kind of irks me sometimes. But thankfully, she herself learns to develop, and she also has her share of lessons that she learns herself.
Yeah, so I was kind of just really irked about this because I know Lisa was kind of, that she's a know-it-all and all. But to be honest, Miss Allegra doesn't have that patience that Miss Sridivas had back in kindergarten. So I don't know what, but it just makes me feel that Lisa was just absolutely kind of jerky, especially when she was trying to say, I I know all the facts and all this and that. Look, a dinosaur doesn't do this and that because it's a dinosaur. And I'm like, come on, it's a freaking fairy tale. Come on, these are first graders. They are still having the kindergarten mindset. So they're going to have a lot of these like fairy tale stories. Lisa needs to like go back to a mindset of the first grader. But she's still, like I said, she's a gifted child, a know-it-all and everything. This just makes me feel that Lisa is still that person who just continues to be a jerk and all, especially just showing off the fact that she's a smartass. So, I mean, it just did hurt. It really kind of doesn't make it look good that Lisa is like that. But I guess this is her attitude now towards being a smart person, especially when you're still in first grade and all. Look, you're going to be in kindergarten. You're pretty much off kindergarten now, so you're not going to be taking naps anymore. So Lisa, you probably have to go up another grade now if you want to just work up with the perks instead of not going in the first grade.
Yeah, Nate. And another thing I like to point out is two things. One, I got to make a correction on that because instead of jerky, it was herky jerky of her. She was acting herky jerky.
Wow, we're getting ready to the next episode. Well, going to follow up with the other episode coming up. Okay, so
second thing I want to point out is that obviously Lisa Loud is not the only character archetype where a genius character is shown to be very snobbish, very how should I put it, smug. Like we've seen other smart characters that have shown that kind of personality trait. Like it sort of goes back to Dexter from Dexter's Lab, Jimmy from Jimmy Neutron, Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory, and recently one of the DuckTales characters at DuckTales 2017, Gyro Gearloose, has shown this especially. But the good thing about it is that most of these smart, smug characters, like I said, they at least show that they're not perfect themselves, or they're not as perfect as they make themselves to be, and they have their own share of lessons to learn themselves. So I do like that each of the shows acknowledge and establish that.
Yeah, I guess your point there does make sense there. But like I said, Lisa, you're got to be a little bit more respectful towards all the teachers there. I understand you're still a know-it-all, but come on, man, this is just first grade. These kids don't know what you know.
Exactly.
Let them still listen about fairy tales, about dinosaurs, doing all this.
Exactly. or Princess and Damsel in Distress who needs to be saved
something like that.
A knight from a fire-breathing dragon.
Okay, so moving on. So a mad Miss Allegra gone. Apparently, Miss Allegra actually teached all of the Louds, and apparently he thought Lola was the worst one. And I didn't really expect that. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that this teacher actually knows about all the Louds. Apparently, she was teaching them to every Loud now, and then apparently Lisa's the worst in her case now. So because she now pretty much stormed out of the first grade class, Lisa is now pretty much stuck teaching the first grade class. And she pretty much spitted out the facts with her class, not actually knowing about what Lisa was saying. Because like the first graders, they don't understand what Lisa's talking about and all this and that and all the sciences that she talks about. So they're all pretty much confused and pretty much stuffed up with protein nuggets that they got them to fart. So yeah, that's another poop joke there. But she would also like bring Darebot to help her out with teaching and everything, which I thought was not also necessary as well. How would you explain to her teaching skills?
I would say that Lisa's teaching skills, while I understand what she was trying to do, her intentions may have been in the right place, but like the way she goes on about it, the way she complicates her teachings wasn't the right way to go, honestly. I feel that it sort of like boggles my mind, but if Lisa's this smart, why is she still in first grade? Why can't she be like a child prodigy? Why can't she go to college? We've seen child prodigies go to college before. Like we saw Jimmy Neutron go to college in one episode. I keep mentioning Jimmy Neutron a lot, but you get my point. And also Chloe Park from We Bare Bears is a university student herself. And she's a kid too. Like Jimmy's a kid too. So honestly, it sort of like boggles the mind. It sort of like makes me question, like like Lisa knows that this isn't the right teaching environment for her in terms of learning stuff because she.
Disconnect. Oh, looks like Omi got disconnected there. So hold on for just 1 second. We'll hopefully get him connected back again. So be right back, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah. Oh, he's back now. All right. Still not disconnect. Oh, are you okay? You got disconnected there for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but anyway, going back to what I was saying. So we know for a fact that Lisa's intelligence far exceeds the first grade class that she is currently in. So it sort of makes me question if Lisa's so smart, like beyond elementary, junior high, or even high school standards. What is she still doing in elementary school? Why can't she just move to college and be a child prodigy?
You know what? Yeah, people have been thinking about that. But then again, she did try to go up another grade. You already know that episode from, what was it? Making the Grade. And look, I don't know what they're going to be doing with Lisa, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be stuck in the grade that she is right now. But the thing is, like, as a know-it-all, you're supposed to understand how first graders are supposed to learn. And it doesn't work out when you're just pretty much spitting out facts about sciences or about animals and this and that, about photosynthesis and things like that. Because first graders are probably not going to learn that immediately. So I just feel like Lisa's supposed to know this more. And if she's a know-it-all, she's supposed to understand how a first grader's mind's supposed to be. I would imagine science is not going to be a huge thing for first graders to know about. It's still about, fairy tales and all this nice giddy-gaddy stuff. But come on, you can't really give out like equations and formulas already for a first grader,
Exactly. Save those for junior high.
Yeah, wait for junior high. We've learned through that, that's for sure. Okay, so Lisa's most pinnacle moment, though, as a teacher was bringing back a dinosaur, which obviously was bad as it terrorized the school and scared away the first grade class. So what did you think about this part in Lisa's teaching?
I felt that like Lisa's teaching methods, that's where they go way too far. So like I said, Lisa's teaching methods, while with good intentions, they can end up being really dangerous. Like they can end up with like dangerous consequences as well. And bringing back a real life dinosaur, honestly, if she's this smart, maybe she should have thought, oh, maybe being a dinosaur isn't such a good idea for a first grade class, right? I mean,
I guess what she wanted to do. I guess what she wanted to do.
Lisa, you got the big brain. You always use it for this.
What you want to do is actually just show the fact up that a dinosaur does this, not whatever was shown in that fairy tale. I'm like, really?
It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Lisa should know better than that. I mean, a dinosaur is a freaking predator, so they're gonna probably eat kids.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, like, I understand you want to like bring that fact out. And the other thing too, I also want to point out is that you don't need to actually necessarily bring Darabot. Yes, Darabot was a nice little asset there, and apparently I think Darabot was actually a little bit more jerkier as well because he literally was abusing Darcy for a couple of moments there.
Herky or jerkier? Was it herky or jerky or herky jerkier?
It was herky jerky, but he was jerkier to Darcy, and I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong with you? Just because she couldn't raise her hand, I'm like, come on.
I know, right? That's Lisa's best friend.
I would have to say, Lisa as a teacher does not work out here. It just makes me feel like if I was a first grader, I'm going to be like really up to my hands and knees, wondering what the heck I'm going to do, what the heck's going on here.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Another thing too is that I feel that. Speaking of Darcy, I feel that she should have had a more significant role. I feel like she's just a background character, like the other first graders. The closest thing to a main or significant role she had is just having a few lines, and that was pretty much it. I'm like, Darcy deserves better.
There's some significance, though. I mean, as long as she's talking and she has some significant role in the episode, then that makes me proud to say that Darcy's still. There to stay to say for another Lisa episode. All right, so finally Miss Allegra would come back and calm the dinosaur down with a song and would go back to teaching that class. So explain your thoughts about this last scene in the episode.
I feel that it was really nice of Miss Allegra to come to the rescue and help Lisa out, despite the fact that she was really, really annoyed with Lisa and quite possibly angry with her too because of Lisa's behavior towards Miss Allegra and how she made her rage quit. Sort of like how I was rage quitting earlier with a certain level that I was playing a certain video game today, but I digress. Now,
Okay.
now here's the thing. The thing with Miss Allegra is that I honestly give her bonus points. Like that, it really does show that Miss Allegra, just because she's really frustrated with Lisa and her teaching ideology is different from hers, it really does show that she still cares about Lisa nonetheless, because she is still a student, she is still a kid. So, like Miss Allegra is sort of like Lisa's mother figure in a school in a sense, or at least Lisa acknowledges this at the end of the episode.
Yeah, but the other thing too is
Sort of
that
feeling a bond.
I think this.
Feeling a bond.
So Miss Allegra, I think, is just more of a, how do I say this? A person that would still teach a first grade class. I think she's still a little dedicated to it. The thing is, like, I have a feeling that she knew at the end that Lisa would not pull it off in the end. And apparently, yeah, the whole dinosaur thing came into the rescue. So I would imagine a kindergarten just come in and say, like, Miss Allegra, help! There's a dinosaur in the first grade class or something. And she ended up doing well. I don't know how the ending was. It's kind of weird because it's like, yeah, you calm them down with a song, and then the dinosaur's now part of your class. I'm like, oh my god. I guess it's very cheesy at that end too. You didn't want to bring it back, apparently? Bring it back to the prehistoric age?
I know, right? Like I said, Lisa,
so weird.
Use that big brain of yours to really, fix things.
Right, exactly. I don't know. This was so weird, especially that ending. I was guessing maybe it was. I don't know. I had a feeling that this Lisa episode was not going to be a good one, and look, it wasn't a good one, to be honest.
Honestly, I feel that Dolly the dinosaur. You know what she could be? She could actually be Miss Allegra's dinosaur pet. I can see that happening in future episodes.
Look, just wait. Maybe another Lisa episode comes out where she's in first grade with Darcy, and then that dinosaur is like somewhere around there, like being a guardian for the classroom or something.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. So, any more thoughts that you want to bring up in this episode?
Yeah. Darebot. While it was nice to see you again from the Double Dare episode, I have to say this: leave Darcy alone. Leave her alone. I don't mean, but you got what I mean. I mean, Darebot just cannot stop with Darcy. I mean, for God's sakes, she's just a little kid.
She's a little girl, yet you're abusing her to no end. Oh my God. I thought Darebot was bad when we saw him at Double Dare, but no, it looks like it got much worse at 2.0.
I know robots don't have feelings, but Darebot, have a heart, please. For God's sake,
you gotta talk to Lisa about that, because you gotta talk to Lisa about that because their programming is based on what Lisa programmed them to be. So, another thing I also want to point out, Mrs. Johnson, I haven't seen you in quite a while, but apparently you're also still in elementary school. That was so weird because it's like randomly when you watch the episode, Miss Johnson pops up. And I'm like, oh, Mrs. Johnson, she's back. Oh my God. So wait a minute. But the other thing too is like, who is she teaching now since Lincoln's gone? Is she teaching Lucy now because she's the next one up? Because now it makes you confused. Maybe she went now teaching 5th grade. Maybe she's teaching 4th grade. Mrs. Johnson was just a surprise to see. So that tells me that the continuation is still there for Mrs. Johnson. She's still there in that elementary school, and probably she'll have a big role for another future episode of any of the kids that are in elementary school. I will not be surprised if she's Lucy's new teacher.
I kind of want to see an episode of that. I kind of want to see a new episode in which Mrs. Johnson teaches Lucy, and of course with Lucy and her teacher, I can bet you anything it's going to be related to writing poetry.
All right. So how would you rate this episode?
I'm going to say it's a 7 out of 10. I find it to be a pretty okay episode. It's definitely not one of the most memorable ones for sure, but I had some issues with the way Lisa approached her teaching. But it was nice to see her learn her lesson at the end, and of course the return of Darcy. Of course, I'm always ecstatic for that, even though I feel that she should have had a more important role. But still, it was interesting to see the sort of environment that Lisa would be in, like because she goes from kindergarten to first grade, so it's kind of different between the two. It's nice to see Lisa in a first grade class to see how she's doing, because it could actually open doors to the writers about making episodes based on the Louds in their separate classrooms. Like have Lola and Lana have an episode where they're in a second grade classroom, and a certain teacher is like either really strict or really soft or whatever. You can work with that. I'm very curious about a Lucy classroom episode. I want to see how it goes. I want to see a Lucy and Mrs. Johnson bonding episode.
I really hope that they do actually have Mrs. Johnson do something. Maybe have Mrs. Johnson teach Lucy's class, maybe a fourth grade class. Who knows? But for me, my rating is 6 out of 10. Look, I mean, I have a feeling about Lisa's episodes. There wasn't a good Lisa episode that was, stunning as much as like Friend or Foe, for example. That was the introduction of Darcy and like how friendships work and everything. And I thought that was a really good episode for Lisa Loud. But all these episodes where Lisa just continues to become that smart person who wants to like show off and show that she's the smartest and wants to like take control of classrooms and things like that. That's not the one that I really like to see. I mean, I would love to see if Lisa could continue to like, building character with like more compassionate stuff instead of just being a show up and say like this doesn't work or this doesn't work, and things like that. Like I understand like you don't. I understand that. Yeah, look, you're a know-it-all. You're gifted, but come on, you know that the rest of them can't understand this as well. I mean, you can't like teach Darcy to know about algebra and everything already in first grade. So give them a chance or something. It just makes me feel that I think the lesson of this was just absolutely was very quick at the end. So hopefully with the next Lisa episode coming out, that there should be something better for her. I hope for the best that it should be good for her, especially in that when she's now in first grade, and then we can see more of Darcy and like Lisa interactions because we missed that, especially in Friend or Foe.
Exactly. It's like they really underused Darcy a whole lot. And I feel that, like I said, she should have more significant roles in future episodes. Sort of like how Lucy's friend Haikyuu, Lynn's friend Margot, Luna's girlfriend Sam, they've had important roles of their own in their share of episodes. I want Darcy to have the same. I feel she doesn't get enough.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for our review of School of Shock. So let's actually move over to the next episode called Elecshunned. Synopsis here says, Lenny goes toe-to-toe with Mayor Davis in a city-wide Royal Woods election. So we see Lenny become the mayor's intern, a brand new position for Lenny. I didn't know about that. But then again, she's now, she works over at Reininger's and she does a lot of things now, babysits the Louds, and now she's intern for the mayor, which was surprising. I never expected her to be that smart.
No one did.
Yeah. So she's pretty much sorting out things, but she would bring ideas to Mayor Davis that would be great, but Vic would be the one who says otherwise. Vic pretty much being the campaign manager for Mayor Davis. How do you like the first appearance of Vic?
Yeah, let me tell you. The thing with Vic is that, of course, he's the throwaway antagonist that's supposed to be the herky jerk that we're supposed to hate. And I feel that, honestly, he doesn't really stand out as a memorable or enjoyable villain as much. I feel like he's one of those that's there to be the jerk, just to be an obstacle. I feel that Mayor Davis was a more interesting opponent for Lenny than Vic, because there were actually some layers to Mayor Davis. We know that Mayor Davis cares about her city, Royal Woods, and she wants to pretty much do what's best for the citizens and all that stuff. And her ideologies conflict with Lenny's. So that sort of rivalry I did really enjoy because it's a clashing of ideologies. Vic, I feel, was like I said, he's a bit of a throwaway antagonist, and like pretty much like he's just there just to have Mayor Davis be provoked at Lenny. He brought up some good ideas. Like he did serve well as how campaign managers have a real effect on the people that run themselves, like the nominees. So I liked where they were going with that, but then when you really go in depth, I wouldn't say he's not one of the most memorable villains in my opinion. But as a campaign manager, the kind of role he served, it was fine. Oh, by the way, hashtag kick Vic.
So, well, the other thing too is that Vic was just only there to be a campaign manager. But the thing is that it already gave me a bad taste in my mouth when he started to shut down Lenny's ideas. I mean, Lenny's ideas was actually really good, and Mayor Davis was listening to it. But the thing is, like, yeah, Vic, what's wrong with you? But then again, Vic was the one who actually put Mayor Davis in the mayor's office, so good for him. Plus, he also did shut down. What was it? Flip. From running as a mayor
exactly.
too. So,
oh my god!
Actually, I didn't know about that. Flip would run as mayor.
Honestly, that is like the only one good thing that Vic has done is just shut Flip down. All right,
yeah,
I take back
Flip out of office.
You know what? I take back what I said about Vic. Like Vic is not that bad after all. When you do think about that moment.
Being a jerk to a girl who's pretty much like having all these ambitions to run a town, and they're also pretty good ideas too. I mean, like we'll explain more about this later, but come on, man, she's just an 18-year-old who's ready to get herself out there.
Exactly. I'm just like, take it easy on the girl. But then on the other hand, with the part of Flip, it makes you realize, okay, Vic is not 100% evil. Like he has done some good.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on here. Oh shoot, hold on for a sec. Yeah, Vic is one little villain, but I can't really call him as a little antagonist to say. He's just more of a person that, how do I say? I will probably see him again, but it's just a person that he's just pretty much being evil, especially when it comes to like a campaign race and all. All right, so with Lenny's ideas being shut down, Lenny actually decides to actually run for mayor. And she has a lot of promising ideas, from a tax-free day in the mall to fixing up the bus seats. Do you think she would have been a great mayor?
First things first, okay, Tall Timbers Park deserves 5 bars, all right? I'm just going to say right now, Tall Timbers Park deserves 5 bars, damn it. But in all fairness, though, like I feel while that is the best thing that Lenny has said in the episode, I also feel that she brought up a lot of good points too, like tax-free shopping mall days, making the bus cushion seats more comfortable. Like she brought up a lot of great ideas, and they're not really ideas that Mayor Davis could have thought of, which is why that Lenny does an effective job as being an intern in Mayor Davis's office, and also she does well in that environment overall. So honestly, I feel that I feel like Lenny did a serviceable job as an intern. I don't know if I would say that she would be the best mayor, because bear in mind, being a mayor of a city is hefty responsibility. Like even for Lenny, we've seen how responsible she's become in season 5. But here's the thing: she's been responsible in season 5 by teenagers' standards. Like running, being mayor is adult standard of responsibility. And honestly, I don't think even Lenny can manage to accomplish that, because let's be honest, while we do love Lenny, we love her ideas. Let's be honest, of course, Lenny is Lenny, and we all know her didziness. So yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing too is like, it makes you think. Maybe a couple years later, when she gets a little bit smarter and actually goes to college and knows about, all the laws and things like that, she could actually have some good potential to be a mayor. I mean, there's some episodes where we actually see her in the future, like Shop Girl, for example, where she turned out to be a really good CEO. There's a lot of like right now you can totally see her as a ditz, but the other thing too is like there's potential for Lenny at the moment, and seeing her being on a political stage and started shouting out like promises and things like that, there could be a potential that she could actually run for mayor again. Who knows? Mayor Davis could step down and Lenny could actually pick it up. Maybe having Mayor Davis as that running manager, but that would be pretty interesting. I mean, this episode kind of shows how Lenny can have a lot of potential to become whatever she wants to be, and even being a mayor of Royal Woods. Let's see how it goes. I think that could be a potential future for Lenny in that case.
I think so too, yeah.
So now we were on the campaign trail, and Mayor Davis and Lenny will be fighting for the spot for Royal Woods mayor. The campaign would get very tight that it became pretty toxic. Now, we don't want to get into politics here, but does this remind you of a certain election that happened to us a couple of months ago? Okay, but the other thing too is, did you like how each campaign did to try to get dirt on their opponents?
Yeah. Honestly, the more the rivalry built up, the more interesting that it got. Because, like I said before, like, this episode really does prove that you could put Lenny into any situation, put her into like any sort of environment, and she would still manage to make it work simply because of her dialogue and her true care for those around her. And in this case, this includes the Royal Woods citizens. And OM gosh,
yeah.
The amount of dirt that the two try to pin on each other, like, oh my god, when they were going head to head, I was actually at the edge of my seat going, ooh, this is getting juicy, I'm not. Yep. I was actually like Scoots in a sense. Like, I was actually like Scoots, and I was just, ooh, need me some drama here. I like to see where it goes. I was wondering, like, to see where it goes.
Yeah, I was really interested in like how Lenny was trying to pick up dirt. But the other thing too is that Lola being that campaign manager for Lenny was, I think, pretty smart, because Lola actually got a lot of dirt. Like, for example, when Lola, when they sneaked into Mayor Davis's office and picked up and noticed that she's not shopping locally, so she's shopping over at Hazeltucky instead of Royal Woods. That's dirty little politics there. There's also dirty politics where Lincoln actually made a commercial. This kind of reflects back to Cooked, because he made commercials with Clyde then. Now he's also making commercials for Lenny's campaign managing. It was just pretty awesome just to see the Louds continuing to help with Lenny's mayor run. And, it's pretty cool that they were supportive for Lenny with all the things that have been happening around her. And the other thing, too, is that, when things got a little bit dirty, I think Vic would also have to be the blame for that, because he also did put a lot of dirt on Lenny, like the whole denim. Like, you can't wear all denim. That's a bad look. Vote Mayor Davis. He doesn't do that. What else is there? There was also that campaign. There was also that little car chase where I think Rita's road rage started to come up again.
Oh yeah.
And Vic showed a baby picture on her of Lenny, and I thought that was like cute, but at the same time, oh my god, you just teased on her that she's a little baby to run for mayor. And then another thing too is that, and then also the political ad that Mayor Davis had as well, because Vic pretty much ran that. And he pretty much said, like, why would you have a person who doesn't know how to drive become a mayor? AKA flashback to, what was it? Driving Miss Hazy. Look, continuation is still all up in the air in this episode. I'm like, oh my god, we're doing this, we're doing that. All continuation that's happening over this episode. And I can't believe they actually put it all in this one election episode.
Exactly.
It was crazy. I thought it was amazing.
I really love that this episode had many callbacks to other episodes.
Yeah, but the point here is that the Louds are supporting Lenny, and I thought that was really heartwarming just to see that Lenny's running for a very top spot, and the Louds are just right there helping her out, digging dirt, making political campaign ads, etc., etc. The list goes on, but they're there to support Lenny.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, in terms of Lola, oh my god, I absolutely love Lola in this episode. It's probably one of her best appearances, that I've seen. Like, oh my god, when she's campaign manager and she gets all hot-headed, and then just like, you just a down. It's like, oh man, it's like it made me laugh every time. It's like it put a massive smile on my face because with Lola, like I said, like her evil side, like her spoiled brat side, like there's so much creativity that you do with Lola. There's so much creativity and exaggeration that you do with Lola's spoiled brat behavior. But in this episode, that sort of holds true in this episode. And I like how especially she uses that sort of nature for good intentions because she's doing this to help Lenny. She's doing this to help her sister by sort of like being pretty much Lola becoming Lenny's own Vic in a sense.
Right. All right, okay, so moving on here. So it got really dirty that even Lenny's support got toxic. You can totally see the supporters going like, Mayor Davis is a bad person. Oh, Mayor Davis doesn't do this, doesn't do that. And they all get enraged and things like that. This led to a great moment where Lenny would tell her supporters that Mayor Davis isn't this. She's a nice lady and pretty much turned all of her supporters down, which pretty much led her to lose the election. So how did you like Lenny's actions here? Yeah,
I really like that she does come to terms with how who she really is, what the kind of person she wants to be, and of course, Lenny comes to realize that I don't want to be this person anymore, this despicable person. I want to be, I want to be the kind lady the kind girl that everyone knows that I am, that I know that I am. So honestly, I want to win the election, but that's not the way to go. I like how she does come to realize this at the end. And sure, it might have cost her the win, but at the end of the day, she did learn to stay true to herself, stay true to her good nature, and, just not try to sabotage the other person, not sabotage the competition just to give herself the win.
So I was just really amazed about Lenny. Just the fact that, she still has her like nice nature that she has. Like she's always sweet, she's always kind. Seeing this is, yeah, you're right, out of character for Lenny to do this. But then again, this is all about politics, and they always go dirty when it comes to politics. And I think this is also just reflects on a field that Lenny may not even work with, because it's just more of, dirty little politics that will probably not help her in the long run, because I would imagine that politics would just go get really dirty, especially when it comes to a position like this. I just felt that in this part here, it just tells me like Lenny's being true to herself. She's not going to backstab anybody, doesn't want to like put out any bad dirt anymore. But then again, like it was pretty much the supporters who riled up with her dirt and with all the things that she's talking about Mayor Davis that obviously would make her lose the election. It's a pretty huge sacrifice. She would have won if she continued to do that, but just the fact that she continued to be wholesome and just continue to have a heart and everything, she would lose the election. But at the same time, she did get promoted to become the campaign manager for Mayor Davis. She actually picked up a couple of ideas from Lenny and actually did bring it up to Mayor Davis's office, and then actually worked out. That whole tax day thing became a huge thing. Let's be honest, though, bro. When have politics not been dirty? Yeah, you're right. But then again, I'm not into politics, so it won't matter. Leave me out of it. Leave me out of it, especially right now. So, anything else you want to bring up in this episode? All I gotta say is, like, Lenny's new slogan should be "Make Royal Woods loud again." Like I can imagine, make Royal Woods loud again. I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to associate it with. Bad joke. I don't know if you want to associate with that. Okay, we're gonna stick with OM Gosh. We're gonna stick with OM Gosh. Sounds better. So OM Gosh does sound better to me. Loud 2021. Loud 2021. Yeah, I actually did say like yes. I did put up like a hashtag lit. Yes, she can, because I was thinking that she would actually become a mayor in the end of the episode, but she didn't, and her sacrifice actually made it a much better episode. So what would you rate this episode, Amit? I would honestly rate this a 9 out of 10. I feel that this is one of Lenny's best episodes. And like I said before, it really just goes to show that you could take a concept, like you could take an environment, like any concept or environment, like put Lenny
in that sort of environment, and you could still make it work. And none of us really expected that Lenny would be put into an environment of the mayor's office or politics. None of us really expected it to really mesh, but somehow it managed to mesh and combine very well. It somehow managed to blend together really great.
For sure. I'm gonna have to give this a 9 out of 10 because I never expected Lenny to become a great politician, and she turned out to be pretty good. I love the support of the Louds being there just to help her out in a really tough situation where she would actually become mayor. And just the whole fact about politics where it's just, you just pretty much show how politics work, but in a kiddish form, like in a kiddie way where, I think some kids will probably watch this and probably say, so this is how you become mayor. I think that was the lesson there. I'm guessing politics are dirty. If you want to go into it, you got to have a dirty mind. Not like that dirty mind, but more of a personal, like get in it sort of sort of a mindset there.
Yeah, that's what I really like about this episode. Like, it's sort of a teaching moment. Like, it's an educational moment for the kids, so that they can learn the dark sides of being a politician.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so with that in mind, let's actually move on to the Casagrandes episodes that also did premiere on that Friday. So let's start off with the first episode called Fool's Gold. So the synopsis here is that when they find the treasure map, the Casagrandes would go on a treasure map to find Pancho Villa's gold. So this turns out to be an adventure of the boys of the Casagrandes minus Bobby and Carlito, which would help these guys with little character development in the show. Were you okay with this, or were you a little disappointed it wasn't all the Casagrandes?
Honestly, if you want my point of view, I thought that it was about time that most of the Casagrande men got their own episode. It was actually nice to take a break from Ronnie Ann and Bobby and give the spotlight to the characters who need more screen time and more development. I mean, yeah, we love Ronnie Ann. We also really like Bobby, but they get the grand majority of episodes centered around them. Like, I feel that in terms of the Casagrande series itself, characters like Ronnie Ann, Bobby, and Sid are like the ones who like mainly hog the spotlight. Rightfully so, because, well, Ronnie Ann's the main character and such. But I feel that, it was time to sort of like give them a little break and then sort of give the spotlight to those who don't get as much screen time or as much of a main focus in an episode.
Yeah, I feel like for these guys, we don't really have much episodes when it comes to it, especially Hector and Carlos. I mean, Carlos did have an episode called Going Overboard, and we have a lot of Carl episodes over at the Casagrandes. And not a lot of CJ, not a lot of Hector, but it's just the fact that they have all of these guys pretty much team up and try to find a treasure full of gold, of Pancho Villa's gold, which I think is a cool thing to have, especially when it comes to guys and money. I mean, like Hector loves money, Carl loves money, and I think just Carlos is there just to see the scientific fact about Pancho Villa, and CJ's just there just to have fun with it.
Yeah, that's what I like. They have their own motivations for why they want to search for this gold.
Right. Okay, so let's go back to the episode right now, because after finding the clue in the Mercado, Carl, CJ, Carl, CJ, Hector, and Carlos would be on a treasure hunt to find the treasure. They would go to places like the Lighthouse, the Glart, the Sea Market, and a whole lot more. How did you like the adventure aspect of this episode?
Honestly, I was really invested in the adventure itself. I really was. Because not only because of the journey, but also the characters within the journey. It's how well the four characters worked well off each other due to their own unique personalities and their own motivations for getting the gold. Like the greedy little brat Carl, the fun-loving adventurer CJ, the genius Carlos, and the old man Hector. Like, their bickering, their dialogue with one another, their genuine family bond, like everything was what made this adventure especially so engaging.
I feel like these guys can actually do work together. I mean, like, everyone has their own little purpose there. I mean, Carl just doing whatever it takes to get money, Hector loving money, CJ being adventurous, like you said. And the other thing, too, is this is a pirate treasure hunt. So it feels like he's kind of in like a pirate hunt just to find treasure. Carlos just knowing about Pancho Villa, I just feel like these just seeing these guys team up together and looking for a treasure all together, I just feel like it's something that we really needed for sure. I mean, just to have a bunch of Casagrandes that we never have character development for finally come together and actually start working together to find like this treasure chest, for example. And really good for the Casagrandes because we never have full character development episodes with these guys, except for Carl, because Carl has a lot of them. So during their adventure, they need to hide the fact that they were on a treasure hunt, meaning that whomever they talk to, they need to hide it. I found this part to be funny as they try to hide this hunt. I mean, they went to see Stanley. Stanley was there just to see what the heck they're doing. What was it? There's a couple other people that were also there too. Sergio was also one other person that was like looking in and seeing like, hey, what are you doing? That kind of stuff. There's a lot of people in that neighborhood that was pretty much saying, what are you doing? They're trying to hide the fact that we're doing this, we're doing that, we're not doing a treasure hunt or something like that. It just makes it hilarious for me because also in the background you get to see what they're doing, like Hector trying to go for a treasure map, but at the same time you see him getting pelted by pigeon poop, and then they're also trying to hide the fact that they're also doing a treasure hunt while Carlos is also being trapped with a squid. Like I said, a lot of hilarious moments here, but I want your opinion, Omid. How did you like this part here?
It definitely made sense that they would hide the treasure from others because, well, let's be honest. If I heard about a real treasure located next to where I live, I would hunt it down myself and I would keep it a secret too. Excuse me. Sorry. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that treasure, of course, is a sacred item worth millions of riches. Like millions or even billions of riches. So imagine how complicated and difficult it would be if people around you knew about it as well. They would be your competition and try to steal your dreams of becoming rich. That's case scenario A. Or scenario B, they would probably beg you, plead you, and even cry to split the fortune with them, which of course is the last thing that you would want them to do.
Yeah, most definitely. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was pretty funny just to have them like hide it. But the other thing too is that there was a person who would actually start leaking it out to everybody, and that would actually be Hector, because Hector would actually start texting the whole neighborhood about the whole treasure hunt, which led to pretty much a scene of everybody in the neighborhood trying to fight for the treasure. And I'm surprised that none of the Casagrandes actually got into that. You get to see Stanley and Becca. You get to see a couple of others that were also there. Vito was also a part of that, trying to fight for the treasure. Let's see so eventually they would find a set of coupons for a taco restaurant. How did you like this whole ending of this treasure hunt here?
Hector, you messed up big time. This really does go to show how old people are way behind with the times. I mean, really, Hector, you don't know how to text. You don't know how to text. I mean, really, how do you even have that phone? Like, come on, man. But I will say, though, in defense of this, it really does lead to a thrilling rat race scene with everyone competing against each other for the treasure. Vito, Sergio, Maybell, and even Stanley Chang, they want the treasure too. So, of course, they fight to the death over it. Or actually, no. Actually, they dig to the death over it. Also, the twist at the end was really funny. And I kind of saw it coming because, I'm going to be honest with you, it would have seemed a bit far-fetched that actual treasure, like actual gold, would be located in a local modern city like Great Lakes. Because keep in mind, this isn't an environment like, say, Uncharted or DuckTales, where the location is mysterious enough to discover myths or legends. This is just your average city in an average slice of life environment. So this twist would make sense in terms of the atmosphere of where the Casagrandes live.
So you had a feeling that it was all chocolate?
I had a feeling that the treasure somehow might not have been real. I never would have expected it to be chocolate, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I didn't expect. I mean, first off, I actually didn't expect it because they were actually looking for a treasure chest, and it did fill up with gold. So, gold. But at the same time, I love the fact that the whole elephant pretty much ate it.
Yeah.
And then it spitted out the coupons. So it's like they have a lot of coupons. And after what happened, it makes sense why Hector would actually use those coupons to pay for tacos. So yeah, bad move for Hector, but you know what? It did lead up to what you said, Amina. A really awesome rat race of those guys pretty much just fighting for that treasure, just looking at that monkey pit, just digging their way up to get a treasure chest and all.
Yeah, it was like watching Rat Race. It was just that engaging to just watch the fiery competition for riches.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else you want to say about in this episode?
I really like how it's their own version of It's a Loud, Loud, Loud House, but they have their own unique plot that distincts itself from the episode that I just mentioned, therefore making this episode really stand out. I felt that there was much more grand, much more engaging, and I feel it's much more fun to watch than It's a Loud, Loud House personally. And also, like I said, what really makes a treasure hunting episode especially remarkable are the characters themselves searching for the treasure and how the treasure hunting group really work well off each other because of the bond. The dialogue also really helps because it really does build up some comedy and it builds up the chemistry between each of the Casagrande men. And like I said, overall, each episode has its own unique twists and turns. So you don't really know where the episode's going to go. Like every time you think an episode's going to go a certain direction, it ends up going to a different direction. And I really do like that plots do that.
Yeah, pretty much all that. I mean, I thought I didn't have much to say about Fool's Gold. I thought this was actually just a pretty funny episode of just pretty much a rat race of just getting everybody to go and search for the gold. But then again, it was more of Hector being a slip up and actually just, started to engage on it all. So what else? So what would you rate this episode?
I would say I would rate this an 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, I found it to be a really fun adventure, thrill-seeking episode with a few of the Casagrandes characters that, like, for the most part, they're like as supporting roles. Like this, they're more like the more supporting roles of the entire Casagrande family. So it was a nice change of pace to see these characters have their main roles for a change. Well, I mean, sans Carl, because we all know that Carl gets his own share of main role episodes.
Yeah, most definitely. No doubt about it. I think this episode was absolutely nice to have. Just the fact that this is more towards the guys of the Casagrandes. And we never really have a lot of character development episodes like those. Just having them bond together to search for a treasure chest, I thought that was really nice. The whole race at the end was also pretty cool too, but at the same time, a big slip up by Hector pretty much led that whole rat race, so they can't hide secrets. But it was exciting. I actually did really like it, just the whole tense of moments of like, trying to find that treasure and looking for all those clues. I gotta give it an 8 out of 10. Most definitely a pretty good episode, not like one of my favorites, but I would say a pretty average episode to really enjoy when you're watching the Casagrandes. All right, so let's move on ahead to the second half of that episode block there. The episode is called Flight Plan. And the synopsis here is that Frida and Carlos go on a fancy plane ride while Carl, CJ, and Carlitos try to sneak on for an adventure of their own. So this flight plan, to say, was just more for Frida and Carlos. But you can totally see the rest of the boys wanted to join in as well. They would eventually be given babysitters that would do their job, but would eventually stop babysitting because the boys did something that would take them off the job. First off, Mr. Nakamura, why would you bring toys for them to not open? Like, you bring a collection and you open it, obviously it loses value, and then you obviously got heartbroken by it. I'm like, that's like the worst thing to actually have, especially when you're babysitting kids.
Exactly.
You gotta have their hands and open it. You're just I feel bad for Miranda though, because she was the one who did well at babysitting, but at the same time she was getting scared for what the boys were doing. Like, she was, they were watching a scary movie and then they all freaked her out. I love CJ's little what was it, shining moment?
Shining moment.
Shining moment where he's like, "Here's CJ." That really freaked out Miranda.
Very nice shining reference, CJ. Like, I gotta tell you, kids probably seen more horror movies than we expected.
I guess so. And then the last one, forgot the mango lady girl.
Maybell.
Bell, there you go, Maybell. Well, Maybell came in and actually did a good job by actually letting them do chores, but at the end, she actually left as well because of a hot date that she wanted to go with.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was set up by Carl.
7.
And that was set up by Carl. All right. Anyways, how did you react to the kids just getting rid of these babysitters like that?
Oh boy, let me tell you, Carlitos, that dude is one evil baby genius. Don't underestimate Carlitos' age, okay? He's much smarter than we give him credit for, or at least smarter than we expect. I really do like how, as a trio bonding episode, like a trio of Casagrandes brothers, like when they butt heads, when they work together, to cook up a scheme, we have seen that their schemes to get rid of the babysitters end up going extremely well, mainly because of like the brains of Carlitos and Carl, like like Carlitos being the mastermind, Carl being encouraging to him, and then CJ, of course, going along with it because he wants to have fun. He wants to have an adventure on the plane. I really do like how the different kinds of plans they cook up for each babysitter, like they all work and they all really stand out by how distinct all these plans are.
Yeah, I really thought that was pretty awesome just to have those guys actually team up. Then again, you don't really see Carl, CJ, and Carlito. Carlito literally is just a baby, and he doesn't have a lot of episodes out there. But you now get to see how Carlitos just turns out to be a pretty smart little baby for his age.
Yeah,
I like the fact that they just love to look. They were shut out from not going into this flight plan with Carlos and Frida. So what they do is just team up together to just get rid of the babysitters. And apparently, then again, they had to be called back to say, we got to give him another babysitter. And eventually they would have to actually babysit themselves during that whole flight plan that we're going to do. So eventually Carlos and Frida would bring them along for the trip, but would leave them aside on a bench. But being their mischievous selves, they would end up going on a plane, but not the plane that Carlos and Frida were going to be on. They're actually going to an AI plane. That was a fun plane ride for them, but not entirely. What are your thoughts on this AI plane that they were in?
Honestly, I felt that the AI plane, it was a very fun character in and of itself. Like, they actually managed to make the AI plane a, very good character on her own. Not just by her lines, not just by how funny she could be, but also how she serves a purpose in helping the boys learn their lesson in the end. So I really like that. Oh, and also here's a fun fact too. The AI of the plane is actually voiced by Veronica Taylor. You can look it up. Oh my
God, that's Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. Are you serious?
Yes, the AI plane is Ash Ketchum. I kid you not. So at the end of the day, we have the Ash Ketchum plane to thank for giving the chance for pretty much making the boys come to their senses. So
is this what happened after you won a championship? Now you become a voice for an AI plane for the Casagrandes?
Hey, AI plane. Gotta fly them all, right?
Oh my God! I mean, it wasn't as surprising as hearing Christina V in the previous new episodes. Yeah, she was just a delivery girl. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool just to have an AI plane pretty much like run the whole system. It looked like they were having a fun time in that AI plane too, just by being launched and also being in a stunt mode. Turned out that they were actually having a fun time. But at the same time, you had fun with zero gravity, but at the same time, they were also doing stunts, which obviously made them sick. And of course, Carl being a jerk and all to that AI led him to a pretty bad fall, which we'll talk about right now because the AI, because the AI would actually be angry at them. It would eventually place them in a life or death situation where Carl didn't apologize. We wouldn't have those kids anymore.
Exactly.
Now
There'll be
here's the
like three
thing.
dead kids.
Here's the thing, though. This led to a huge moment where the kids would be sorry for what they've done, and well, they really showed it. They really did. Explain how this moment was for you.
Honestly, I felt that like the life or death situation may have been extreme for their age, but at the very least, it actually knocked some sense into all three of them, especially Carl. Like you don't really like, of course, out of the three, the least you'd expect to be apologetic is Carl, but he managed. So, and I like how the AI plane even acknowledges herself that Carl's the most mischievous of the three, so she makes Carl apologize before she has them all killed, unintentionally killed or something like that. And then Carl's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, just like please spare me, let me live." And then all three of them do that to Frida and Carlos as well. And I like how it's a heartwarming moment because you could tell that the three of them have learned their lesson, and you could tell that deep inside, like Frida and Carlos, while a bit iffed at what they did with the babysitters, like they still forgave them. They still saw how sorry that their sons were, and that that just and that. But that, of course, while they discipline them, they do love them. They do want what's best for them, and at the same time, they do want to take this flight trip. So, honestly, that just led, all in all, it just led to a heartwarming moment in the end.
Yeah, I think that was just a huge moment for them, just because all of their jerky little movements where they always take away all the babysitters, pretty much like
herky jerky. I keep saying herky jerky.
Look, the karma pretty much got them got them after that AI plane pretty much said, "I won't do this until you apologize." I think he should have done that to every like babysitter that they've done, because they pretty much like did a lot of things to get those babysitters out of there. And yeah, I would say a huge moment for these kids, because it just tells you like you can't just be a jerk anymore. You really have to I just say you really have to be nice sometimes. And they did, especially in that last moment where they said like they were saved, they kissed the ground, and then they like hugged Frida and Carlos saying like we won't bother you again and things like that. I love the fact that Frida's like, what's going on here? Let it play, just play along. All right. And the other thing too, the AI is pretty much everywhere. Look at that taxi.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can tell she's got her eyes on Carl. She's like,
hello, Carl. Oh, that was hilarious at the end, though. All right. Anything else you want to bring up in this episode?
AI plane gotta fly 'em all.
Oh
AI plane.
I would say not. I would say not bad, especially with the boys just learning their lessons after what happened with what they did with the babysitters. And another big huge point I want to also bring up: Carlota was only there for just like 30 seconds. So what happened to her after that? Like you literally left Carlota out of there. I talked about this
exactly.
I talked about this in our Casa Live before, and I said like Carlota was there for just one little for just 1 or 5 little seconds, and then that's it. She should have babysitted too. They didn't do that. It was weird, right? I'm like, Carlota could have just went up there and just babysitted with them, but no, we just cut her off right there. Like she was right there only for like a couple seconds. Could have been the babysitter too.
I think that because Carlota is a fashionista, like she drives for fashion, like she's working towards her goals. I think that she was busy during the time.
Sure,
I guess I could possibly explain
busy. Like they said, all the Casagrandes were busy. I don't know about that. While she's there celebrating their anniversary. Okay, so what's your rating on this episode?
I would say it's an 8.5 out of 10 too. I mean, yeah, sure. You brought up some points like why wasn't Carlota there? She could have served a purpose as a babysitter. Maybe she could have went with them. But I really do like the bond, the dynamic trio of the three Casagrandes boys, and how, like I said, when they work together, they can really work together to cook up schemes and to meet their end goals of going to the plane. And then later on, they learn that that they shouldn't do herky jerky stuff to try to get what they want. Pretty much let Frida and Carlos do their thing, let them fly. It gives it teaches them a lesson to behave themselves, and I really do like that all three of them come to terms with that at the end.
I think that really was the main point of the episode. I just feel like that was the pinnacle of it all. I also got to give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Throughout that whole episode, you get to see those guys just continue to be jerks. And I think the whole lesson about the whole lesson at the end where they fly their own plane and get what they deserved after karma got them, I think was a really good lesson for them. Harsh for CJ, harsh for Carl and Carlito, but that is what you do. That is what you deserve for after what you did with those babysitters. Look, let Frida and Carlos have their free time. Come on, it's their anniversary. Don't be a jerk like that.
Honestly, like I felt like you brought this up. You just brought this up too, but I felt like they should have apologized to the babysitters. I definitely agree with you on that. Like at least send them letters or something.
For sure. All right, so that's it for all the Casagrandes episodes. Let's head over to Monday's episodes that also did come out. These two Loud House episodes premiered before the premiere of Tuned In. By the way, did you like Tuned In? Was it an awesome game show that you checked out?
I don't think I did. I don't think I got a chance to.
You should check out Tuned In because there was a lot of awesome questions for the Casagrandes and the Loud House, actually. So I thought that was actually pretty fun to see kids just know about their Nicktoons. And there's some awesome there were some like awesome things that they also put up, like questions about the Fairly Odd Parents, questions about Danny Phantom, old Nicktoons as well. Not like old Nicktoons like Hey Arnold or Rugrats or any of those things, but if you're a huge Nicktoon fan, you probably know from the 2000s all the way to now. And I thought that was a pretty cool quiz. I thought it was a pretty cool quiz question. And I was thinking we should also do that for our next game night if we ever do it. Have those questions come in. We should probably do that, right? Have like these little segments, and whoever wins will try to get a big win a big plushie of a Lincoln Loud or a Lori Loud or a Luna Loud. Yeah, we should probably do that,
Papa needs me a Luann. Okay, I'm just saying.
She's right over there.
And Luna's with me. She's gotta have her roomie, so yeah.
All right, so let's move over to our episode before Tuned In premiered. It's called Zack Attack. The synopsis here is Zack and Rusty fake an alien moon landing that sends the whole town into a hunt for aliens. So this begins with Zack loving aliens as much as his parents. He raves about a big event happening where aliens would make a sighting, inviting most of his class to the event. How would you like Zack's first impression as a person who likes aliens?
So my first impressions of Zack were, I'm going to be honest, before this episode, I thought he was a pretty good character. I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite characters of Loud House, but he serves a purpose fine as Lincoln's good friend. And, having a fascination with aliens is his own personality quirk. So that's something I really dug. I was really digging. What I was really digging even more, what I was really enjoying about this episode was that, oh my God, it was about time that Zack got the main spotlight in his own episode. Because oftentimes, whenever he'd show up, he would mainly just, usually the sort of role that he would have is just a supporting role, just to be there for Lincoln whenever he needs a group of friends to help him out. Or whenever there's a Clinkin Squad episode, Zack's always there. He does a serviceable job. We rarely see focus or development of him as a person, though. And I feel that Zack Attack is the way to go in terms of giving Zack the main spotlight, giving him more development as a character.
I really think that he deserves it after 4 seasons of not having an episode, and you always see him on the sidelines with Lincoln and Clyde, just doing their own thing. And then you also have like really focused episodes on other characters, like Liam, for example, with Cowpie Kid. You get to see Stella in Tales of Woe. We have not seen a Rusty episode yet, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have one here in season 5. But the fact that Zack really did impressed me a little bit. I mean, Zack has a weird parents, and I thought Zack would be a person that doesn't like that. He'll love aliens, but at the same time, not as obsessed like his parents are. But it looks like he is also like filling in with his mom and dad too. Apparently, they all are a family of weird alien looker upper people. But it is what it is. It just lets me believe that Zach is just going to continue being that character, and good for him. It just gives more character development of who Zach is, a person who loves aliens, and is still a good friend to Lincoln and the whole squad.
Yeah, I mean, it runs in the family. This fascination with aliens definitely runs in the family for sure.
Yeah. So the whole alien event would be a whole bust because there's no alien that actually did pop up. That is until Zach and Rusty actually did have a plan to make believe that an alien ship was around Royal Woods. So how'd you like this whole plan?
I really thought that the whole plan that Zach and Rusty have, I was really on board with it because they want to, at the end of the day, they want to keep their class entertained. They want to keep them thinking that, oh my God, Zach is right. The alien spaceship is everywhere. And I like how Zach and Rusty cook up a plan to put on a show for them. But little do we know that it would end up backfiring them at the end. Well, actually, sort of. But then I wouldn't say backfiring, but it goes in a different direction than they expect, which is that they really, really believe that the aliens are actually real. Even up to a point where they got a whole crowd, like all the Royal Wood citizens think the aliens are real, and let's just say that all hell breaks loose.
Yes, it did. I really do love their plan. I mean, like the fact that Zach and Rusty, you always see them together. Like they get stuck together during that No Bust No Fuss episode. You get to see them fight amongst each other and schooled. So I was expecting something of a friendly little relationship, friendly little like negotiation here with Zach and Rusty. And, just having those two just team up together to make a fake moon landing was pretty cool. And just the fact that those two like do have some chemistry, and I feel like they're going to be like best buds. I would imagine another Zach and Rusty episode where they do something a little crazy.
Yeah.
So their plans also failed, as it seems that their ship landed, which led to Zach's parents and the whole town pretty much going loose and just trying to find that alien ship. Zach would eventually, sorry, I didn't see this. Zach would eventually bring his friends over to talk about this whole fake moon landing, of this fake landing, and they were glad to help him out of his situation. So how'd you like the fact that the squad is there to help him out when it comes to a situation like this?
Honestly, I really do like that Lincoln's friends are there to support Zach no matter what. Like Rusty, of course, is the first one to do this for Zach, but I like how like it was a team effort thing that like Lincoln's whole squad got us together to make Zach's plans really work. But then, of course, again, the plan really, really does backfire, and Zach confesses to the entire crowd, the entire town, that they were pretty much just pretending to be aliens. They were pretty much making it a scene so that he would have a fun time with the aliens, showing aliens to them just like he intended. But however, little did we also know that somehow a UFO appeared at the end. Oh, but however, it's not a real UFO. No, it's actually a fake UFO that was set up and pretty much like have it being flown with a remote control by Flip.
Yeah, that one was it was Flip. Come on, Flip is always going to be tricky like that. I just like the fact that the squad is there to help. I mean, look, Zach is in a little situation. The other thing too is like, when it comes to episodes like this, remember the whole Tales of Woe episode where Stella was in trouble, wanted to find that like treasure box thing, and the squad was there to help her out. This is the same little situation with Zach. He had a situation where he kind of messed up and faked the alien landing. So the squad was there to help him out in that as well. So this squad is just absolutely tight with each other. Like they'll help each other no matter what. This is like how squads are supposed to be and how it's supposed to be reflected towards people, towards friends who are in middle school and high school, those kind of things. I feel like Lincoln's squad is just a squad that always continues to become more impressive to me. And with the fact that they're helping a friend like Zach, it just tells me that they're there for everybody no matter what. And it's just really proud to see this group continues to become, really awesome. Zach could be a little bit weird, but it just tells me that he is a good character to go with, and we're gonna probably see more of what Zach would be if more episodes of the Loud House comes out with Zach being the lead role, that is. But yeah, I like the fact at the end too, that where they had that moon landing too, and the fact that if they're all in like alien suits and stuff like that. So they, like I said, they really did set this up really well. But of course that kind of screwed up because Lincoln and Clyde can't lift shit. So and
got lift. You guys got lift.
Yeah, and look, they're pulling that whole thing up, and then they just don't have enough power that they immediately crash it down to the ground again. That whole land. Okay, so to say the least, I have to give props to Flip though, because that helped Zach not become a fool. Because it was flying pretty much off into the distance and stuff like that. But Flip, it's Flip's little robot toy. It's not a real moon landing, but at the same time, it just makes Zach so amused, make everybody pretty much amused about the whole alien thing, and just makes Zach look a whole lot better of a character to everybody there at Royal Woods.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Flip did something good. Flip did something good.
Oh my god!
To me, Flip did something good to me.
This is not a drill. Flip actually saves the day. I never thought I'd see the day that this actually happens, but Flip actually managed to become
being sarcastic
a hero.
on this? Oh my god!
No. I'm actually genuinely shocked about this. No one would expect that Flip of all people will actually manage to
You really should think about that, because Flip pretty much put up an alien thing where all the crowd said, "Oh my god, there's a real life alien. It's not a fake like what Zach said," and it's obviously a fake because Flip did it. All right, so anything else you want to bring up in this episode?
Yes, like I said, Zack Attack, like some of the other episodes that we just mentioned, Zack Attack also really opens doors for focus episodes based on supporting characters. Like, this was a Zack focus episode they managed to do really well. We just got a Liam focus episode with Cowpie Kid. I wouldn't be surprised if in the near future we get to see another supporting character with their own set episode. Like, I would say, what are your thoughts on well, we already discussed about how Rusty should get his own set episode, but I was thinking more like, what are your thoughts on a Girl Jordan episode?
Yes, I swear to God, we need to have Girl Jordan back. But she did appear in this episode for like a minute or two, and she had some speaking roles.
And guess who she was sitting next to?
Okay. You're gonna say his name, and the crowd is probably going to be all pissed off now. Do not ship them. Anybody, do not ship them. I swear to God, no.
There are those out there. Girl
Jordan's a pure girl. She doesn't want to be hanged out with a guy named C. Okay. No.
He who must not be named. Right?
No. He's still.
He who must not be named.
That guy still was bullying Zach too. I'm like, oh my God, he's still a bully. I cannot like him. He's not a good guy. But no, do not ship them. Do not ship him with Girl Jordan. She's too pure for everybody.
Girl Jordan deserves better. Girl Jordan deserves better. Ship Girl Jordan with Stella. Ship Girl Jordan with Stella.
I would love that. But here's the other thing I also wanted to talk about. That one girl from Brave the Last Dance was also there too, and I didn't know Emma would be actually a person that we'd actually see again. Then again, we saw Chloe over in Elecshunned as well, like a little significant, like a little small showing of Chloe, and then you also see Emma too. So these characters are also going to be coming back again. It looks to be. I will not be surprised if we get to see Clyde and Chloe again. Please let that happen.
Exactly.
What Emma comes back? Oh my God! What Emma has like a big role? Oh my God, that's gonna be something.
like Clyde and Chloe are on a date, and he asks Lincoln for advice. I want to see where that goes.
Yeah. All right. So, what's your rating on Zack Attack?
For me, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Like I said, it was a really nice change of pace for the Loud House to focus on characters that are have more supporting roles than main roles. It was nice to give focus to Zach of all characters, give him screen time, give him development, give him the spotlight, and he managed to hold his own episode very well, honestly, better than we really expected. Honestly, I really liked where this whole alien scheme was going. I really love the chemistry of the Lincoln squad again. I really do like the dynamic duo of Zach and Rusty. I feel that Zach and Rusty are their own Lincoln and Clyde duo. Like, you have like Rusty being Zach's own Clyde McBride in a sense, well, for the most part. So honestly, I feel that this episode was really engaging, really fun to watch. And I'm really proud of Zach for holding an episode on his own.
I have to say, for a Zach episode, this is actually a first impression for me, and I really do agree that Zach, could be an alien person, an alien investigating person, which you can totally see in the first couple of seconds of this episode. But this is what the family comes from, so the family is pretty much teaching Zach on how to look at aliens and things like that, which I think is pretty cool for if you're into that kind of stuff. But it kind of tells you how dedicated he is when it comes to looking for aliens or looking for like extraterrestrial life, etc. Those things in that little subject there. And I do love the fact that they finally gave Zach an episode. We already seen it over with Stella and Liam. It was long overdue for Zach to actually have an episode. And I think it really did impress to let me see how Zach is when it comes to the squad and all. But I have to give this a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, it was only a first impression, and my impressions with him is okay. I will probably, if they ever do another Zach episode, it would probably be something like really stellar, like something out of left field, like what they did with Liam, for example. Let him play baseball. What would Zach do that would be out of left field for him? That's something that probably be focused on in another Zach episode if they ever bring one up for the Loud House.
And I will say this, Zach, I really hope that you're enjoying Jerry's very nice tall glass of "I told you so."
Okay. All right, so we did save this last episode, this episode for last, because there's a lot to talk about in this episode. The second part of this episode, of this block of new episodes that happened on Monday, it's called Flying Solo. So here's the synopsis on this one. Clyde thinks he's a shoo-in for the Glee Club until Lincoln's auditions land him the lead part. Clyde and Lincoln would join the Glee Club, and we would see that Clyde has a good singing voice, but no doubt about it, Lincoln has the good singing voice. Were you not surprised that he has the voice of an angel?
I honestly wasn't surprised by this. And I have two major reasons why Lincoln himself is a natural singer. One is an out-of-context reason, and the other is an in-context reason. Reason number one, I have two words for you. Asher Bishop. The kid is such a gifted singer, and this isn't the only case scenario where we have heard this kid's musical talents. Because you may remember in an animated series called Summer Camp Island, he voiced the role of Oscar. And one of the most well-known songs in Summer Camp Island was called Hello Moon, in which Oscar sings to the moon. And let me tell you, in that episode, he sung just as tremendously in that episode as he did in this Loud House episode. And I have stated numerous times that and let me tell you, it is worth repeating, but let me tell you, this kid, he's got a bright future ahead of him in Broadway musical theater. Now, reason number two, and this is an in-context reason, but it's something that has to do with genetics. Because, of course, we all know that the best Loud sister ever, the best Loud ever, Luna Loud, herself is a musical talent herself because she is a rock star. She plays the guitar. She even has her own band. She's in a band called Moon Goats. So that must be where Lincoln gets his musical genes from. That must be where Lincoln gets his singing talents from. Like, it all has to do with genetics and how genetics can really shape up one's talents.
I'm just shocked to hear about that. But yeah, I mean, to say the least, Lincoln just has that good singing voice. But the other thing, too, is that he has a whole list of voice actors that he went through. You got Brad Palmer, you got Colin Dean, you had Tex Hammond, and then you have Asher Bishop. And I think Asher Bishop when I'm looking through it now, it feels like he is the best voice actor for Lincoln at the moment, because he did have some amazing singing roles. You could totally hear it from "We Got This" by in Schooled. He sang that whole song mostly with him and the rest of the squad. But to be honest, if he's just singing that whole song, I'm like, okay, you have a huge talent when it comes to singing. I can't wait to see what you do next, aka what happened here at Flying Solo. So I am not surprised that he had the voice of an angel when he's saying that in this herky-jerky world, it doesn't need to say goodbye, or whatever that line was. He did.
We should need to
amazing
say goodbye.
time. He had an amazing voice, and I'm like, yeah, I feel just like Paula and Liam did. Did you know that he had the voice of an angel? Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, he did have a voice of an angel.
Yeah, honestly, I remember this song in school too. Like, I feel Asher Bishop really nailed "We Got This" too. We got this.
Yeah,
we got this.
Like,
Trust me, we'll be
he really is a talented voice actor, and I think they landed a really good role for him being Lincoln, because now you can totally see him as a great singer, being a magician, or being a great singer. He's a really talented kid. So this kind of tells me that Lincoln is going to be a very talented kid, especially when he's doing a lead role for this Glee Club. Not for the sense of Clyde McBride though, because he did outshine Clyde McBride in that role. Now we have to go to the most controversial part of this episode, where Lincoln lands the role, but Clyde was okay with it. Not really. We get to see a new side of Clyde here, a jealous Clyde. So he would do things to Lincoln, his best friend, to take out his voice so that he would get the part. And it would work. It just left a bad taste in my mouth. I know you got to go rant about this, but I got to put my 5 cents in this, okay? Because Clyde McBride, oh my God, you're a great friend for Lincoln. And throughout all 4 seasons of Loud House, we get to see a lot of Lincoln McCloud episodes where you both end up having fun times. There have been some moments like Enter for the Worst where you guys fight for a flippy, or what, golden flippy. There was also Resident Upheaval where you guys also fought as well. This time around, we were thinking that it was going to be a fight between Lincoln and Clyde to land the role. But look, Lincoln got the role, and you get to see Clyde McBride start to do a lot of stuff to make him lose that voice. And I'm like, wow, out of all the people, I didn't expect to see Clyde McBride, the best friend of Lincoln Loud, start to do a lot of things to sabotage Lincoln, your best friend. That is not how friendship works. You don't do this shit. But Clyde did it, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, Clyde? Why would you do this sort of thing? This makes me feel so bad for Lincoln, who's the main character of the show. It makes me feel bad for Lincoln that he got the role and then he pretty much lost his voice. Clyde, out of all the people, I never expected to see you, out of all the people that are friends with Lincoln, he's your best friend. You don't do this to a best friend. What is wrong with you, bro? I said a lot, but you have a lot more to say on me. So go ahead, loud it out. Why was Clyde's role in sabotaging Lincoln so bad for him?
Boy! Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Do I have about you, McBride? Okay, now while we can agree that season 5 is Lincoln at his best, the complete opposite is true for his so-called best friend. If anything, this is Clyde at his worst, not just in terms of this episode, but honestly with season 5 in general. And one reason why is because it's not just this. It's not the first time we've seen Clyde act this horrible, but also Saved by the Spell, in which Clyde joined the rest of Lincoln's friends in stopping him from doing his thing, the thing that he loves, due to preconceived notions that magic is for babies. But I already talked about that way too much in the past episode. So honestly, I'm going to focus my attention to this episode and this episode alone. Now, while it is true that what Clyde did in Saved by the Spell was absolutely terrible, at least there, Clyde did say that he was uncomfortable with it because scheming against Lincoln makes him queasy. And I will say that in the end, he did feel genuinely bad, just like the rest of Lincoln's friends did. And you know what? It felt very genuine. I will give it this. It felt very genuine. This episode, however, neither of the two are the case. Now, first off, Yeah, great continuity there, guys. Yeah, apparently Clyde had absolutely no problems scheming to take away his best friend's voice, even after Lincoln vouched for him when the music teacher gave the leading role to Lincoln. And let me tell you, how does Clyde thank Lincoln for trying to help him out and being concerned for Clyde's well-being? Like, how does he show his appreciation to his best friend Lincoln for showing concern for Clyde? Oh, our good dear friend Clyde complains to his cats that, oh, it's not fair. I want the leading role. I worked hard for the role. And keep in mind, he even says himself that Lincoln tried to help him, and he still goes with the plan of taking away his voice so that he cannot sing or even speak just to satisfy Clyde's own needs. Okay, first off, not even season 2 Lynn was this horrible. Then he tries every single damn dirty trick to get Lincoln to lose his voice. From getting him to sing loudly during a school news announcement, to Lincoln singing 99 jars on a jam, to turning on a cleaning machine to trick Lincoln into yelling so much that he ends up losing his voice at the end. And wouldn't you know it, he succeeded. And due to this, Lincoln cannot even speak, cannot sing, cannot even say a word because of his so-called best friend's actions. And Clyde does not feel a single shred of guilt, not a single shred of quease in his stomach about it. He doesn't feel any sort of remorse for what he did. And okay, now, yes, he does feel bad about it later on. He does feel bad about it right after his rehearsal turns into a disaster. During the rehearsal, he doesn't have a moment during the rehearsal when he reflects on what he had done. He doesn't even he doesn't have like some sort of like guilt moments. Like he doesn't feel anything during the rehearsal. He just goes ahead and continues with it like he didn't do anything wrong until the music teacher calls the rehearsal off and all hope is lost for the show itself. Excuse me. Now after Clyde knows for a fact that they need Lincoln no matter what, that is when Clyde starts feeling bad about what he did to Lincoln. Just when he needs Lincoln to perform, not because he wants Lincoln to perform. See, what separates this from Saved by the Spell and why it's worse here is because I felt that the guilt here was really forced because it was due to Clyde needing the show to go on that drove him to apologize to Lincoln, rather than genuine reflection upon himself and upon his own ugly jealousness. I mean, sure, yes, I'll give him this. He does do the right thing later on. But honestly, it doesn't change the fact that Lincoln did not get a chance to speak at all during the entire day, all thanks to his so-called best friend. And honestly, anything could have happened throughout the duration of Lincoln being unable to speak. Like, what if he ended up like in an emergency situation where he would have to call someone and then Lincoln can't even speak, right? I mean, that's sort of like honestly, this may sound like I'm exaggerating a little bit, but trust me, losing a voice, losing the ability to speak is actually much more drastic than one makes him out to be. Trust me. If I had it my way, honestly, I would have had Clyde confess to his actions to the entire school, and then he gets punished by getting his part removed, and then he is forced to work backstage like he deserves. But hey, since it is a kid's cartoon and it is the Loud House, it's no Loud House episode without a happy ending, am I right? All good, right? Forgiveness, friendship, hugs, all that stuff, am I right?
Oh no.
Now, and
I can't
honestly,
say about that.
I know that people have hated on season 2's Lynn due to her own bad appearances. And trust me, like, yeah, we all know that Lynn in season 2 wasn't exactly her best. But here's the thing. At least season 2 Lynn didn't try to take any of Lincoln's talents. He didn't mock any of Lincoln's interest, well, up to a point where she would stop Lincoln from doing what he's doing, and she wouldn't have taken away any sort part of mouth, body, or vocal cords out of Lincoln. Season five's Clyde, honestly, in my own opinion, he's got a long way to go before he can be as good a friend and as good a person as he was during the previous 4 seasons.
So are we assuming that they're doing a lot of things for Clyde McBride? Like, I understand, like, Click McCloud was a huge thing back in season 3 and 4, but Clyde making these kind of bold actions to sabotage like your best friend, that's really taking a risk there. I'm like, wow. Why would you do that, Clyde? Out of your best friend, out of all the times that we see all the Click McCloud episodes, why would you, go do this to your best friend? But and you're right, Omid, it does go up with a happy ending, but it's still, like I said, it just gives me a bad taste in my mouth that Clyde did this to Lincoln, your best friend. You don't do this to a best friend. I just doesn't make it feel okay. Like, now it makes me have a reputation for Clyde McBride to say now he's gonna backstab again Lincoln Loud in another episode. It's just not good.
He's one of those characters where he perfectly fits in the "you know what you did" category. Like, Clyde is a "you know what you did" character.
Like that tear maker again.
You know what you did. You know what you did.
Okay, so today at least, let's continue on, because pretty much Lincoln is pretty much off the Glee Club now because of his lost voice. That means Clyde McBride has to be the one to take over. It didn't look good for him though, because Clyde was not the better singer. He also did realize that as well. He wasn't even a good actor when it comes to the Glee Club, and the list will go on. He would eventually go to Lincoln and say, "Hey, I'm so sorry." Obviously, Lincoln cannot speak, so he puts up a whole sign saying gasps, bring it in. So apparently they got forgiven. They were forgiven. Weirdly, because I thought Lincoln would say something angry about that. Apparently not. Then again, he lost his voice. But what happened next was that Clyde continued to do a lot of things that would make it better for him. To do all the things that he did with his vocal, when he tried to practice his voice, he put it on Lincoln. So he did all these practices of like jumping up in the trampoline, being in a hot bathtub for a long time, just to pretty much clear his vocal cords to make him sing again. I don't know if this would be something that you would say redeems Clyde, but in your opinion, do you think this kind of helps the fact that Clyde did this bad thing to Lincoln?
Like, honestly, I give credit where credit is due that Clyde did at least try to help Lincoln at the end. But like I said, it doesn't erase the totally dirty deed that he did. Honestly, I felt that Lincoln, in my opinion, was way too forgiving of Clyde. Like, way too forgiving.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Honestly, you want to know what? If anyone were in Lincoln's shoes, like if anyone else were in Lincoln's shoes, like after Clyde confessed to what he did, you know what I honestly would have put down? Screw you, get out.
I see.
But like I said, since this is a Loud House episode, and Lincoln is a forgiving type, like way too forgiving in my opinion, but who cares? Honestly, I felt that the ending could have been stronger. Like, honestly, all that would have been forgiven. Like I can forgive all of it if Clyde hadn't gone off scot-free at the end. Like I said before, like there has to be a stronger ending, because Loud House has pulling off some pretty strong endings themselves. Take a look at Game Off or something like that. Do you remember Game Off? That was a strong ending.
Well, to say the least, the strong ending it did happen here in a strong ending too, because it had Clyde and Lincoln singing together at the end. So, it did end up having a good Glee Club show where they sang together at the end, and they ended up having a good show together. So, I would have to say this though, Lincoln is absolutely the nicest kid ever. I mean, to be backstabbed by your best friend and then just forgive after what he did by doing all these things to get his voice back, and to get him back into the Glee Club for the performance. Lincoln really has been impressive. I have to say, Lincoln has been the best boy in this season. If they continue to make Lincoln look great, just like what he did here in Flying Solo. I have to say, if he's forgiving like that, that's just saying like this is how you should grow up to be for Lincoln Loud. If you love Lincoln Loud, you should grow up to be like him. It's like such a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Lincoln Loud, I will say, Lincoln Loud is definitely the best. Like, season 5 is Lincoln Loud at his best because of, this, Saved by the Spell, No Bust, No Fuss, Resident of People, where he's a magician, he's a good grandson, he stands up to bullies, and here he is a way too nice, way too forgiving of a friend. But like I said, my definition of, stronger ending is, I would say, more realistic ending. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that like in a real case scenario, honestly, this ending would have had Clyde not be in the group at all, like kicked out, shunned, and have him work backstage instead as punishment. Like, honestly, that's how I would have written this episode. And if that episode had be written that way, Clyde getting a suitable punishment, then honestly, I would have ranked this episode higher. But because of how really, really, really herky-jerky Clyde McBride was in this episode, and he managed to get a punishment that should have been like the closest thing to a punishment that he has gotten was getting crashed stage, like swinging back and forth by Paula, which I felt was absolutely. I felt that scene where Clyde is getting swung by Paula is really hilarious and absolutely satisfying.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, I mean, to say the least, this was actually, I would say, not bad of an ending, to say the least. But I would say, even at the back of my mind, if I was going to be Lincoln in his shoes, I would say, yeah, I still don't like you for doing that. I mean, there's be a chance where Clyde could actually get kicked out of the group. I don't know, but I mean, like the way that he gets, the way that Lincoln forgives Clyde in this, just makes you feel like Lincoln is just very forgiving and all. And I thought that was actually pretty nice of Lincoln to do that. All right, so
I would have been like, I would like get the hay out.
So how would you
get the hay out, Clyde? Get the hay out.
So how would you rate this episode?
Honestly, like, Flying Solo was one of those episodes that I was looking forward to, mainly because of Asher Bishop's very talented singing. And honestly, while I do really love Asher Bishop's talents, I admire his talents, and like they are the highlight of the episode. Like Lincoln, not just Lincoln Loud as a character, but also Lincoln's singing is just really stellar. But the potential that Flying Solo had, it was botched down by how horrible Clyde's behavior was. Like, you would expect that, you'd think that Clyde would rise up after Saved by the Spell, but no, he got worse from Saved by the Spell. Like, he got so much worse. I mean, Resident of People did show Clyde as a good character because he did care for his grandma, but then like after that he goes back to being a really bad character, like in Saved by the Spell. Except Flying Solo, it's a lot worse. So because of that, and because of the fact that Clyde didn't get enough punishment at the end, like I said, I'm honestly going to rate this a 6 out of 10. Honestly,
wow.
Like the exact same score as Saved by the Spell. I mean, Lincoln really does hold up the episode. It keeps it from being dragged down any further in terms of the score. But the huge monkey wrench is what keeps it from being a great episode overall.
Yeah, I would have to say, just because of the fact that, Clyde being all jealous and stuff. I mean, we end up seeing the jealous Clyde that we never actually see in the Loud House. But you never expect the jealousy to actually reach his best friend. And that was just absolutely, just like I said, gave me a bad taste of what Clyde is now. Now, it makes me feel like, are the writers really doing something with Clyde to just make him look bad or something like that? But the forgiveness part was also pretty cool in the end. But really, it's just the fact that I've just learned that Clyde really is a jealous person and would love to sabotage his best friend. I thought that was just absolutely heinous for Clyde to do so. I had to say, I'm going to reach this like a 7 out of 10. I was thinking that it would be an awesome competition between Clyde and Lincoln, but it turned out to be something I think far worse. because it just makes it feel Clyde McBride is a person that you probably have to watch your eyes on now, considering like what he's done to his best friend and all.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, is that with Flying Solo, this episode could have worked in much better ways, like have much better plot lines for it. Like let's say have Lincoln and Clyde really do compete against each other, because that would have completed the whole Clink and McCloud rivalry trilogy where there's like rivalry on both sides. Or you could have Lincoln you could have Lincoln sort of like pretend to be sick so that Clyde can have the main role, because keep in mind, he didn't want the role in the first place.
Right. He was actually giving it off to Clyde. He was just giving off to Clyde, and it was just out of nowhere that the teacher just heard Lincoln's voice and gave him the lead.
So there's actually a million ways that you could have done it while having Clyde stay, in character, stay in good graces. But no, they got to go with the alternate route of, having Clyde behave like a Modern Family Guy character.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. Let's just hope whenever we see another Clink and McCloud episode, it'd be something much nicer compared to what we saw here. Okay, so that was pretty much all of our episode reviews. You went through an hour and 45 minutes.
And also,
of this.
One more thing I got to add. Lori showed up in Flying Solo to support her brother.
Oh my God, my favorite Loud is also there too.
Shout out to Lori. that moment when a character who only appeared for 5 seconds and doesn't speak actually did much more good for Lincoln, actually had more likability in an episode than another character who had a main role and appeared throughout the entire episode and had much more dialogue ever did.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say a lot of episodes that we reviewed, 6 episodes in total, and we already went through 1 hour and 45 minutes. So holy crap. So let's just go through these 8. We're going to preview these 8 episodes of the Casagrandes that will be coming out this week. It all starts tomorrow, and then there'll be 2 new episodes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we have 8 episodes in total. We got to be starting to preview these right now. This one coming out on Monday. We have already seen it on Amazon Prime, but it's finally coming out on Nickelodeon.
Whoa, what happened? Oh, sorry, folks. Technical difficulties here. Technical difficulty, ladies and gentlemen.
That was me. Random crap again.
It was you this time. What's going on?
I don't know. The internet's being shit right now. All right, let's go back.
Yours isn't the only one.
So let's go back to this. I think I clicked the wrong button anyway. So let's head over to our next episode that we could preview right now. It's called No Egrets. The synopsis here. Let me go put that up right now. Synopsis here. Sergio is in for a treat when a group of baby birds think he's his mama. So he's going to be taking care of baby birds. Without spoiling anything, what can you explain about No Egrets?
No Egrets. It's basically, Sergio becomes a mama for the 2 baby birds that need help to thrive in the real world. When I saw it myself, I thought it was okay. It showed Sergio in a positive light, but the thing is, I'm still not a fan of his character because Sergio is a plot device that makes things worse for the main characters. Like, he's just there to cause conflict. Especially in another episode, the next episode we'll be talking about, like in a future episode you'll be seeing later on. But in terms of No Egrets, like I said, an okay Sergio episode, show him a good graces. Doesn't make me like him as a whole, but it's nice to see Sergio's good side. Now,
I've got to be saying about Sergio, I mean, we're trying our best to forgive him after bad cluck. Look, he murdered a freaking chicken. Look, now he's taking care of birds. I'm like, can he be a good fatherly figure to these little birds here? To say the least, this is going to be an adventurous time for Sergio because you never expect Sergio to become that fatherly figure. And I can't really say much about it, but this is just going to be fun because Sergio, he's always a party bird. But having kids along with him now, this is going to be quite interesting of how Sergio will handle it. I can't really say much because I'm not going to spoil it for everybody here. All right, so let's move over to our next preview episode. It's called Meal Ticket. The synopsis here is Ronnie Ann and Sid help Casey and his dad run a food truck at a 12 Midnight concert. So a lot of people are excited for this just because it's a Donnie episode. But what are your thoughts on this without spoiling for everybody?
I really like this episode. It was interesting to see Ronnie Yen and Sid finally get to see their K-pop idol Yunquan. But the thing is, though, is that in order to get a good view, they have to work at a food truck. And of course, they do so. And it's really interesting to see Casey's dad's business and how they try to sort of try to meet their end goal of meeting their K-pop idol Yunquan. While doing their jobs, like making sandwiches and stuff like that. I really liked where it was going. I do love the whole atmosphere of a K-pop concert, down from its fans to the K-pop idols, the K-pop singers themselves, to the food trucks. Like, oh my God, like, honestly, it really does show. The Casagrandes shows that a K-pop concert is one hell of an experience.
Then again, I've always gone to J-pop concerts and they have been an experience. But then again, this is not the same level as K-pop. But another Sidani episode that we had never seen in quite a while. I would say this is huge because we had never seen Sid and Ronnie Ann in an episode for season 2 in quite a while. This one, I would have to say, is very exciting to have these two again working together. BFFs, being awesome, and the fact that they're here for 12 is Midnight. The thing is that they really are excited for 12 is Midnight, that they went up and did this job. So, it's going to be a really exciting episode. I just am really happy just the fact that we get to see Sid again and hanging out with Ronnie Ann. So awesome that we get to see this episode. Okay, so now that's pretty much it. That's the end of like all we could do when it comes to spoilers. Now we can actually talk about these next 6 episodes as we share our thoughts about what these episodes are going to bring up. So let's head over to the next one. It's called An Udder Mess. Oh boy, this one is going to be interesting.
Oh yes, gonna be
all right.
Juicy.
So
this one's gonna be
if you
juicy.
like Sidani from Meal Ticket, you gotta love Sidanikin in this episode. Ronnie Ann wins 2 tickets to Dairyland and has to decide between Sid and Lincoln for the second ticket. Oh boy. What are your thoughts on this episode?
First off, I want to say this. Isabella Alvarez noticed Sidanikin.
Yes. Oh my God. She knows Sidanikin, and oh my God. She knows Sidanikin. So like, I think like everybody before the episode airs, we need to do a Sidanikin fan art so that she'll appreciate it or something. Oh my God, Sidanikin
awesome.
fans.
It is just awesome.
I didn't realize that she knows Sidanikin. I'm like, okay, what? She knows about this? Okay, she loves the fans now. She knows what we talk about with these ships and Sidanikin and Sidani, etc.
Another thing too is that I am very excited to talk about this episode when we talk about it with Sunny in one of her Casa Loud Chats episodes, because if you guys been listening to her latest episode, she mentioned that we'd be her new guest for her upcoming podcast episode. So I cannot wait for that. Another thing too is that first off, it's going to be nice to see the Sidani versus Ronikin like sort of butting heads, because you could see from both sides pretty much why you feel that Ronnie Ann would give either Sid or Lincoln the Dairyland ticket, because she does view them both as her 2 best friends for different reasons. Like with regards to Sid, like she was the first one to give Ronnie Ann a life in Great Lakes, to give her a good social life in a Great Lakes City. Like, and of course, she's been her BFF in Great Lakes City. She's always helped her out. She's always, danced K-pop with her. Oh, and also not to mention the fact that, she would never try to steal Ronnie Ann's voice or any kind of part of mouth or body just to satisfy her own needs. Okay, I just want to put that out there. And while at the same time, while we feel the bond of Ronnie Ann and Sid in Great Lakes City, we've also seen the bond that's just as genuine in Royal Woods in regards to Ronnie Ann and Lincoln, because Lincoln was the first to have Ronnie Ann open up and pretty much show her more vulnerable side, show her more caring side, and as the Ronnie Ann and Lincoln relationship grows, like the more Ronnie Ann and Lincoln's relationship grows, the more they progress, the more softer that Ronnie Ann gets, because back in Royal Woods, before she became friends with Lincoln, honestly, Ronnie Ann didn't have, real friends in Royal Woods aside from Lincoln. I mean, the closest thing to a connection she had was, of course, with Bobby and her mother. But aside from that, she's never had this social life in Royal Woods like she did in Great Lake City. But Royal Woods, he really helped Ronnie Ann shape up her social life, like back then before she moved to Great Lake City. And that's where Sid would come in and do the same with her there.
So I'm just kind of wondering what Ronnie Ann would do. I mean, would she have a date with Lincoln, or would she have a girlfriend date with Sid? And I don't know how this whole episode is going to work, because it's just more of Ronnie Ann deciding between Lincoln and Sid. So I just feel like in the end, it's really hard, because it really is like grinding my heart, like who to pick. And I really hope, I really can't really say much on who to pick on this one. I just feel like, for strong purposes, I really hope it's Ronnie Ann and Lincoln, but it could be either or. I would not be surprised if Sid and Lincoln just go by themselves and say, like, hey, you guys, look, I'm not going to fight for my best friend or anything. Here, you guys have the tickets. You guys have fun. And I would not be surprised if Sid and Lincoln just, like, goes to a booth and just buys a ticket for Ronnie Ann. And then all three of them have fun. That would be something that would be pretty cool at the end. But if this is going to be an episode deciding between Ronnie Ann, deciding Lincoln or Sid, oh my god, I can't do it. I can't
really choose. I can't really choose between either or.
So the thing is, like, here's the big push though. If Isabella Alvarez is pushing on this episode, so there's got to be something huge in this episode. I am not going to be surprised if there's going to be a huge Ronnie Ann and Lincoln moment.
Yes.
Look, she's huge. She's having a huge little hint on that. If she's emphasizing it on Twitter, I would imagine something huge is going to happen in this episode. I'm like, oh my god. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, honestly, like I would imagine Ronnie and Lincoln are at the Ferris wheel, like in Dairyland, and they just smooch it up there, like when they're at the top. I'm sort of imagining it right now. And then Sid's like,
my god. Oh my god. Oh, Sid's a wingman. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Wing woman.
Yeah, we still call it wingman. I don't know. All right. Anyways, we're gonna talk a lot more about this, because we're gonna be over at Sunny's Casa Lab chats in the next one as we talk about Udder Mess. But let's head over to another episode called Teacher's Fret. This episode here is when Ronnie Ann finds out her dad is dating her teacher. She goes to Sid's help to break them up as soon as possible. Ooh, that does not sound good to me in my case. I don't know about you, Omid, but how do you feel about Teacher's Fret coming into this?
Honestly, this is one of those episodes where it can either be a hit or a miss. Like, it's going to be a make or break sort of deal, because like that would really depend on how things go in the end. But the thing with Arturo is that, I'm happy for him that he's finding new love, like he's finding a new date. But I want to see how Ronnie Ann would approach to this, like at the end. Would she come into terms with learning about how in terms of love life, you kind of need to mind your business and let Arturo do his thing? Honestly, what I want to see is that maybe have a flashback or have Maria play a part in the episode where she reveals that the reason why Maria and Arturo divorced is because Maria divorced him, therefore leaving him heartbroken. And Ronnie Ann fears that like her teacher might do the same thing to Arturo, therefore Arturo is going to experience the hurt all over again, the breakup, the hurt of being broken up over again. And so to protect her dad's feelings, she goes to great lengths to make sure that that her dad doesn't date anymore.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so hard in the heart, that's for sure. But holy crap, I mean, like, this is just interesting how Ronnie Ann and Sid are going to work together to break up the potential when it comes to Ronnie Ann's teacher and Arturo. So how could this be? Like, I mean, like, I just hope that at the end, Ronnie Ann understands that, you know, Arturo and Maria are pretty much split. So you can't do anything much about it. Like, you can totally see it in Operation Dad where they just absolutely blow each other off. Like, hi, bye. That's pretty much what happened to Maria and Arturo now. But look, Arturo's in the city. So, I mean, it makes sense for him to go back and date again. Why not? Well, and then, I mean, I understand, like, it could be pretty weird for Ronnie Ann. So, I mean, like, it's a first reaction where Ronnie Ann will just be like, why is he teaching my teacher? I don't like this. It just feels weird and stuff like that. So then you get the episode where Sid and Ronnie Ann just starts doing stuff to break them up. But I would not be surprised if they have a huge story timeline saying, like, Arturo comes by, Ronnie Ann says, please sit down. He says, Ronnie Ann, please sit down. I'm going to talk to you about why we broke up, et cetera, et cetera. And then maybe make Ronnie Ann cry. And maybe they'll say, like, hey, I will be okay with you two dating. And then it'll be a brand new storyline with Arturo and that teacher also dating. I would hopefully see that. I hopefully will love to see that.
See, that would be the first thing that I want to see, is because, you know, we've been wondering ourselves why Maria and Arturo divorced in the first place. And so I kind of want to see, like, the Casagrandes get into, like, dramatic territory, get into, like, emotional territory.
For a kid show, it, like, doesn't really do anything when it comes to drama and stuff like that. But if they ever do it and put it on this episode, oh my God, this is going to be like a main hitter for the Casagrandes.
Oh no, a lot of kids shows do that. Trust me, a lot of kids shows do go dark. They do go sad. But the cases like Loud House of Casagrandes, why they do have those moments, the problem is that with both those shows as a whole, they don't have as much as most other kids' cartoons, or they're not as deep. They're deep enough, but they're not as deep at the levels of most other kids shows that I was telling you about. And that's as much as I love both Loud House of Casagrandes, that's always been one of my issues with it. And I hope that this episode is a game changer in terms of that, because it can finally reveal the real reason why the divorce happened in the first place. And like you said, it gives a chance for Ronnie Ann to genuinely cry, like she feels so bad that they went through this, especially Arturo. I want to see a real cry.
It's gonna be so angst. It's gonna be so angst to see Ronnie Ann cry though.
Exactly. And Ronnie Ann really cry, and for good, legitimate reasons. Okay. In other words, not have Ronnie Ann cry in a comedic fashion over a freaking drone.
Oh my God. Oh, I don't want to think more about it, but this is all on Tuesday, by the way. We have a Sidonica moment, and we have Arturo pretty much confessing why they broke up. I swear to God, this is going to be a heartbreaking moment for Ronnie Ann in these 2 episodes. Oh my God. Okay, let's move on. Let's stop the drama stuff. Let's actually move on to the Wednesday episodes. So first one that comes out is iBreakfast Bot. In this episode, the synopsis here says, Ronnie Ann and her cousins hatch a plan to have Sid's breakfast bot do all the chores. How do you feel about this episode?
Let me tell you, it's going to be one of those episodes where the kids exploit the hell out of Sid's breakfast bot. Okay, like I would imagine Sid and her family going somewhere, and they ask Ronnie Ann to take care of the breakfast bot, make sure he does his job serving breakfast. And then behind Sid's back, Ronnie Ann exploits the hell out of the bot, making him not just cook breakfast, but also do all the chores like the episode summary says. Have it be so that the breakfast bot nearly breaks because of the overindulgence, like the overuse of the bot. And then they try their best to hide the broken bot from Sid, but then Sid finds out that she's shocked, she's disappointed that Ronnie Ann would do this. And so she apologizes later on. They try to fix it. Well, I know Sid would fix the breakfast bot because, well, they made it in the first place. So of course she would repair it. And then Ronnie Ann swears to not overexploit her belongings and Sid's belongings ever again. That's how I feel this episode would go. It may seem predictable, but at the same time, I feel it could work.
Okay. For me, it just feels like, look, they're trying to get a cheap way to get out of doing chores. So what I would imagine is that they would just take Sid's breakfast bot. They'll just say like, "Hey," Ronnie will probably come in and say like, "Hey, Sid, can we borrow your breakfast bot? Why, you gotta make breakfast?" No. Well, yeah, let's go make breakfast. Okay. And then Sid pretty much gave Ronnie and the robot, and then they pretty much made him do all the chores. I would say that the breakfast bot might go haywire and would start attacking the kids. Just out of my mind, it just feels like there's something that could happen with the robot. I've seen this whole iBot before, robot synopsis before, and it always ends up with the robot attacking the people. So look back at that one Big City Greens episode, iRobot or something like that. I remember iFarmbot. There you go. That episode where that Farbot pretty much attacked them, or pretty much took over everything. I would imagine Breakfast Bot becoming like really pissed, like really haywire, and start attacking them or something. That's what I'm hoping for. And then who comes to the rescue? It'll be Sid. So Sid will probably come in and say like, "Hey, what did you do to my robot?" Then he starts taking care of the action that happened there, and then obviously Ryan will apologize and things like that. And I would imagine they would make another breakfast bot that'll be much nicer and things like that. So that's my prediction. That's what my prediction is. I feel like that leads to that case. I hope I don't know. I mean, like there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to this episode, but I think at the end, Ronnie Ann is going to apologize to Sid about what they did.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Because like she is a remorseful character. She knows when she's in the wrong. We've seen it plenty of times.
All right, so let's move over to the second episode, Dynamic Do-Over. When Carl's dreams are crushed after meeting El Falcon, Bobby decides to take on the role himself. So it's pretty much sink or swim again, with Bobby and Carl pretty much having a team chemistry episode. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Well, more like the Casagrandes version of Link or Swim, but I digress. Now, it's very nice.
There was a sink or swim episode with Carl and Bobby.
Sink or swim. You said Link or Swim. I'm just like, it's sink or swim.
Sink or swim, yeah.
But, okay. Now, Dynamic Do-Over, it's very nice to see Bobby and Clyde have a bonding episode again, because it really does go to show how much Bobby really does care about Carl and his feelings and all that. And, we've seen how Carl gets feisty and competitive with Bobby, especially we saw how Carl tries to swoon over Lori, but then eventually he doesn't really swoon over her anymore, pretty much. Now, it's very nice to see this type of episode, because I think it's going to give a pretty much harsh real life lesson that you can't count on anyone, especially your heroes.
Oh,
I know I have to quote, Syndrome of the Incredibles, but we've seen this type of trope before. We've seen the broken pedestal trope before, in which case a character idolizes a heroic figure, but then the heroic figure turns out to be, either a douche or fake or whatever. It's one thing we've seen in common in terms of media, like a few Pixar films like Up and Coco, and even non-Pixar films. Like there's this anime film called Promare that gave an important lesson as well in terms of broken pedestal. You remember that, Nate?
Yes, I do.
Yes. So honestly, like while it's not a new lesson, it's actually a very important lesson for not just kids but also people in general to learn, so that they don't have blind fangasm, like they don't end up blindly loving, supporting, or idolizing a figure who might turn out to be not so heroic in the end. And honestly, with Dynamic Do-Over, we know El Falcon is fictional in the realm of the Casagrandes universe, so it's not necessarily that El Falcon is a douche or anything, but El Falcon could reveal that that he's actually fake and not real, and so it would crush Carl's dreams. It sort of reminds me of that Hey Arnold episode where Eugene's TV star turns out to be a fake, and so Eugene loses hope.
I remember that episode wholeheartedly, actually.
And
I remember that episode
Eugene,
too. Oh man.
And you see Eugene goes bad, so you could tell that Eugene was really affected by this sort of traumatizing
you just don't think Carl
event.
does that. Go all bad.
No, here's the thing. Like, Carl's been the bad boy from the beginning, so instead of Carl going all bad, I guess what's going to happen is that Carl's going to end up being depressed. He's going to be miserable. He's going to be even more vulnerable than Frida. Like, he's going to end up being much more emotional than Frida. And so it will be up to Bobby to come to the rescue and pretend to be El Falcone to keep Carl happy, to keep Carl's hopes up, to keep his dreams up. Because at the end of the day, Carl is a kid. And, you know, at that age, it's really traumatizing. It's really sad when a kid's dreams at that age are crushed like that.
Yeah, dude, I have heard about these episodes these kind of episodes for a while. And this is going to be pretty interesting to see because you forgot the part about Bobby. Why is Bobby's role in this episode? Because, yeah, you can see that Carl could be heartbroken. I would imagine, like, he went into a comic shop and Carl wanted an autograph from El Falcone, and then he absolutely saw a bad side to El Falcone, and then his heart breaks because of that. So probably he's crying in his room, and Bobby would probably be there to say, hey, what's up, man? So what happens is that Carl will probably, you know, get all depressed and stuff. And, you know, Bobby, I'm pretty sure Carl will probably tell the whole story. And Bobby will be like, okay, I feel bad for him. So let me dress up as El Falcone and become his hero. I mean, a big brother, little brother moment would be a pretty awesome thing to see with Bobby and Carl. I hope that would be how it is. But then again, you probably see like Bobby would be, I think, at the end where Bobby would say like, yeah, I'm El Falcone, or probably like his identity will be revealed as Bobby. I think Carl will be like, what, did you fake this for me? And then he gets a big hug and say like, thank you. That would be really heartwarming though, right? I mean, that would be pretty cool. I mean, I can't wait to see this episode because it just feels like there was a great Carl and Bobby episode we've seen already. This could be a little bit more heartwarming to say. I can't wait to see how this goes because I really hope this helps build Bobby's character as a really awesome brother to say.
It really just goes to show how really nice and sweet of a character Bobby can really be. When you really do think about it, he's the Lenny Loud of the Casagrandes in that he's a ditz himself. He has some funny moments where he blurts out something stupid, but at the end of the day, for all the brains that he lacks, he makes up with pure heart.
Oh, for sure. All right. So with that in mind, let's head over to our Thursday's episodes. The first one that's coming out is called Home Improvement. The first one here is synopsis here is Laird is nervous to host a movie night at his house, so Ronnie Ann helps him by hosting movie night at her dad's house. This could turn out to be a pretty good Laird episode, but I don't know how the synopsis looks like. It just feels like it could be some weird episode where we get to see more about Laird and have more, you know, emphasis about him. I don't know. How about you? What are your thoughts about Home Improvement?
Honestly, I'm going to say this. It is really nice to see Laird, of all characters, get his own episode. Like, get his own... Oh, you okay? What's going on with this? What's going on with the sound?
Mic's off. Mic's off. My mic's off.
Okay, so anyway, it's nice to see get his own focused episode because it's like I said many times in this podcast episode, what the House of Casagrandes is really excelling at now, as opposed to earlier, is that it's giving more focus and more main role episodes to the characters that either don't get as much development as the main cast or don't get as much focus, that are just there to be background characters. I like that they're all getting like their own episodes. They're all having their own spotlight in a sense. So I really like what they're doing here. But it sort of begs the question, why have a Laird episode before a Sid-focused episode?
Right. Oh my God.
And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's thinking
Where's
this.
our Sid-focused episode?
Believe me, Sunny's thinking this too. Like, Sunny's thinking this too, and I agree with her. A lot of Loud House of Casagrandes fans are thinking this. Like, you know, why Laird before Sid? I don't get it, you know, but it is what it is.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, Laird is going to have an episode, but then we also did have an Adelaide episode. And that's it. So you have Adelaide have her own episode, but they didn't have the rest of the squad have their own episode. Not even Sid, not even Nikki, not even Samir, not even Casey. Then you're going to have a really focused episode on Laird. Out of all the people, Laird, like, he was the one person that actually just came in last for that squad. I kind of like am interested in like how Laird is going to be portrayed in this episode, because you could just see him as a kind of a nerdy person. And the fact that Ronnie Ann is there to help him out. So it's kind of like the squad again, like helping out, like what Lincoln squad is doing with his squad. So I want to see how Ronnie Ann supports Laird when it comes to this situation. And I believe it's like something where Ronnie Ann would just like sneak into her dad's apartment when he's out and pretty much host movie night there. And then at the end, it's like her dad will come in and it's like his flight got canceled or something like that. And he comes in, it's like, what's going on here? Why was there a movie night and things like that? So they're going to get busted. And Ronnie Ann is going to confess. And then Laird is also going to confess to the whole party. But I would imagine at the end, they'll be like, hey, Laird, you're cool. You're not bad. And the whole party would still continue. I would imagine Arturo would still be kind of angry at Ronnie Ann. But at the same time, I feel like, you know what? You guys can do your party. And then they'll have their party for a movie night. That's what my thoughts is when it comes to this episode.
Yeah, Arturo, I think, would be more understanding of it. He's an understanding sort of type.
All right. Now, last but not least, we have one more episode that also is coming out on Thursday. It's called Undivided Attention. So synopsis here is that Carlota can't seem to pay attention to anything except her phone. So Carlos sets her up with a math tutor. At a strange episode, but again, we need more Carlota-focused episodes. This one was strange to me. It feels like, why would she need to? Again, I get it. She's in her phone the whole time, but then again, she's an influencer, so she's gonna go all about her phone and all. But with a math tutor, how would that help her out? Actually, I don't know. How are your thoughts on this, Omid?
So I feel that while on paper, some people may think that, undivided attention is not going to be, as good as the others. Like, it's on paper, it looks to be your typical okay-ish episode with Carlota. I feel that this honestly could work because it's going to give focus on the bond between Carlos and Carlota. And let's be honest, we haven't seen much. We haven't seen much attention given to the father-daughter relationship of Carlos and Carlota. Like, you got two different kinds of characters. We got Carlos, who is the professor, who's really into knowledge and science and stuff. And then you got Carlota, who's the typical teenager that's into like phones, social media, fashion, and all that stuff. So honestly, due to how different the two are, and due to the fact that they are still family, I could see both of them work off each other. And I think it's going to give an important lesson to kids. And, well, let's be honest, it's a lesson that most of us need to learn nowadays, is that we can't be on our phones all the time. We just got to, pay attention to what we're learning and what's going on around us.
Oh, for sure. I just feel like this is going to be, you might be actually onto something when it comes to the father-daughter relationship, because we never see that at all. I mean, we get to see that a lot when it comes to like Operation Dad, where Ronnie Ann and Arturo just, continue like have a good like father-daughter relationship there. But you never see the other side of the Casagrandes, where you get to see Carlota and Carlos have a father-daughter relationship. I was thinking that would be why why Carlos was the one to say, hey, we have to give you a math tutor. I just feel like it's out of left field for her to get a math tutor. I have a feeling like I'm guessing like her parents got the grades and obviously they were upset about it. So, hey, they say like, hey, get off your phone. I'm going to give you a math tutor. And they pretty much gave her a math tutor. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that Carlota would do some things that would get the math tutor to go away. So it'll be something just like Flight Plan, where, the boys are fighting off babysitters. It's pretty much where Carlota will be fighting off math tutors. And then at the end, it'll be Carlos teaching Carlota about math and stuff like that. And then that would be a good father-daughter relationship there. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome actually to see that? I mean, that's my thoughts about it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. Like I said, like, I feel that this episode could definitely work better than people give it credit for.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. And the other thing, too, is that we need more Carlota episodes. Look, VIP was fine. Shortcut was fine. Not really good just to see how Carlota is growing up in this. I mean, like, really? You're just being a fashionista? Can you do something more than that? There's got to be much better character episodes with Carlota.
I feel this episode is going to definitely get into the root of the problem. Like, I feel this episode is going to be a call out to that kind of problem because Carlos, in some way or another, is going to say to Carlota, all you care about is fashion and all that stuff. You don't care about your classes. You need to, have more interest, all that stuff. Pretty much scold her for her bad grades, and rightfully so.
I feel like that would be a thing to put up too. All right, but yeah, that's pretty much all of our thoughts when it comes to these next 8 episodes. So our next Loud Casa Talks mini episode will be actually reviewing all 8 of these Casagrandes episodes. I'm like, oh my goodness, we have a lot to do.
And it was a review marathon, man.
I know we gotta have a huge review marathon, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We did our episode reviews of the last 6 episodes, and now we pretty much previewed the 8 Casagrandes episodes. So that pretty much is it for this whole episode. So thank you very much for those who are currently on our chat. I know it's over 2 hours long, but we do thank you for sticking by and commenting and pretty much sharing your thoughts on these next couple of Casagrandes episodes, and also reviewing with us on these Loud House and Casagrandes episodes. So if you guys want to listen to our Loud Casa Talks podcast, remember that you can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts, on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts. We also do have our YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, go to our YouTube, click that subscribe button, hit the bell button so you can be able to be notified about when we'll have our next Loud Casa Talks recording. We'll be back recording our next Loud Casa Talks episode next weekend, because we're going to be giving a episode about streaming services, the good and the bad about streaming services. Knowing that the Loud House movie is going to be in a streaming service like Netflix, what makes it good to be in a streaming service and what makes it bad to be in a streaming service? That's what we're going to be breaking down. We have a couple of guests that will also be with us as well. So if you want to listen to that, well, that's going to be our next recording. So beat us up next weekend. We'll go ahead and plan that out. But anyway, that's a lot to talk about. I need to. Anyways, thank you very much for checking out the stream. My name is Nate.
And this is Omid saying thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the love. I know that we exceeded over 2 hours, but there was just a lot that we had to talk about, especially with regards to a certain episode that we touched upon like much longer than anticipated. But let me just say thank you all so much for sticking to the end. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, Loud Crown and Casa Crew. And until next time, smell you later, dudes.
All right, see you guys.